flat-footed Mexican fighter. Look, if you're calling me a Mexican fighter, I find that as a compliment, you know? What are you talking about, you know?
What you make of his comments though, the Mexican thing? I didn't really understand it.
Yeah, like, well, I'm a flat-footed Mexican fighter. Look, if you're calling me a Mexican fighter, I find that as a compliment, you know? What are you talking about, you know?
What you make of his comments though, the Mexican thing? I didn't really understand it.
Yeah, like, well, I'm a flat-footed Mexican fighter. Look, if you're calling me a Mexican fighter, I find that as a compliment, you know?
Okay, it's time for workout number 1. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Stay focused. Okay, it's time for workout number 1. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Stay focused.
Guys, I got a nickname at work today and I'm like so excited because everyone has a nickname there and I didn't have one, and now I finally feel like I fit in. So my nickname is Pendeja, which apparently means beautiful in Spanish, and they're like, hola Pendeja, come here Pendeja. Oh, you look so good today Pendeja. It's so cool. I'm so happy to have such a loving environment at work. They're so cool. Guys,
My main goal is to blow up and then act like I don't know nobody. My main goal is to blow up and then act like I don't know nobody.
My titties, fake booty, fake stomach, fake. You wanna know what's real? This personality. My personality is real. You know what else is real? The real deal. That Miami Light plastic surgery hat for.
Mariela, ¿qué estás viendo?
Nada, aquí jugando. No,
Mariela, ¿qué estás viendo?
Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 19, 20, 10. Kick. Another kick. 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 I told you I don't bang. You say. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 19, 20, 10. Kick.
Okay, it's time for workout number 1. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Stay focused. Okay, it's time for workout number 1.
Turned up when we do the buenos dias. Dispensa la tira coming hot like a weed lot. Working out every day cause it's mandatory. Got your bitch putting money in my commissary. Like a hard 39 when we break off. All the homies follow suit when we take off. Check it up in the...
Yo, what's up, fellas? We back in here. Had to do a 4:20 p.m. stream on this Sunday afternoon for you guys. The link is there. Whoever wants to join. So like, comment, subscribe to Frank Bay. Let's get some shout out. See who's in the building right now. Looks like Never Sobers. What's up, boo? Jump in, man. Talk some boxing. Sobers did he did his thing, his stream last night. You know, he always does the fights, so check him out, man. He's always, you guys can go there, have some fun, talk some shit, and watch some fights. Larry Liston, another solid one. Canelo says boxing once again. The LDBC is crying. What's new? Are they? I haven't really kept up what they're saying. I'm just on Twitter, social media, and whatnot, and I'm seeing what those they're just idiots, bro. Like, they don't have a brain between them. You know what I mean? Paquita Cabeza, once again, a new guy. I don't know, man. I like the name, right? Crip is not getting that payday. Well, you know, they said he wanted Jermel, both Charlo twins, and then he wanted Early Spence, who's a lean sipping car accident, got his ass whipped. Larry Liston, blood versus potato crisps. That's what I should be saying now. Let's switch it up, because you know I get attacked. People messaging me, you say crib, da 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 da. And I'm like, nah, dog. a Crip can be, it's worldwide, bro. They got Asian Crips, they got Thailand Crips, they got Crips in probably Russia, you know? It's worldwide, baby. You know, they like the rap music, Snoop Dogg, you know? SSC, salute, thank you. Okay, que onda, what's up, fool? Yeah, thank you. Y'all, some of y'all names be tripping me out. Don't be like late like me, fool. Well, it's Sunday, bro. You know how to get my food ready, had to shower, you know, comb my hair, did this, that, and the third. It's YouTube, man, you know? I'm trying to just, I'll get there, man. I'll get there. Boxing, yo, can I jump in the panel? Yeah, man. As long as you don't D-bomb me, you know what I'm saying? Salute, Larry. Listen. What up, SSC? Yeah, shouts out to everybody in the chat Sunday afternoon. What up, Larry? What up, Sobers? Salute, Pounds, a real one. Pounds is a huge supporter, bro. This guy probably loves boxing more than anybody. We got the Godfather, BDA, you know, taking shots for BDA, man. You know, people accuse you it's like people really watch BDA and then they say, oh, you're with BDA. You guys say Crip. I'm like, bro, first of all, he doesn't do it. Second of all, you're more than welcome to go to his show. It's free smoke. That's right. Language is malleable. We're taking it back. But Crip is a culture, right? Bloods, Crips. You know, now Chicago has the whole Chirac thing with GDs and BDs. It's just gang culture, you know what I'm saying? They make a lot of good documentaries on it. It's pretty interesting, you know? Because you know what it is? BDA and the people? Because I know you guys get into different check out BDA, best channel on boxing. I think that's like the hub if you want to get real boxing. Best channel I found on the internet so far. He's always keeping it a buck, but he also has the Second Renaissance. Check that out, where you get more than just boxing, which is hella interesting. But like gang culture, you know what I mean? They try to structure it like the mob with Al Capone. Like everybody wants to be a gangster, you know. Rappers, athletes, they love hanging around gangsters. You know, you could see what Chavez used to hang around with cartelos. You know, they call him cartelo and stuff like that. So you know, gang culture is very steeped in America culture, but that's more for BDA's realm. But let's get to some more things. Munguia beat the shit out of Liam Smith, who beat Eubanks, yet the Crips are saying it's okay for the butt fighting. Yeah, man, I mean, you know, that's an interesting thing, Larry. Yeah, they cried Canelo went on a bam-bushing tour, but now this guy. But you know what they're saying is, because he's going up in weight. Boxing fan Anthony, I see dudes calling AJ a Crip. Well, they got Crips in the UK. They got Bloods, Crips. I'm telling you, man, it's worldwide. Gang culture. I don't know if it started in America, but as far as like Dickies and flags and rap music, you know, that's America's apple pie, baby. There was a fascinating documentary called Banging in Little Rock. Like one of the first times they investigated gang culture. Check it out. I found Repit on BDA. Yeah, Repit we haven't seen or heard from him. But that's another place that we kind of all gathered and talked our shit. But you know, I can never be like those guys. I'm not on Rep's level. I'm not on BDA's level. I'm kind of, you know, I'm finding my own ground. And I got you guys. And I'm telling you, man, you know, I got called a troll channel by some guy. I don't know. I guess he's everywhere. Look, man, I'm gonna embrace it now. I'm a troll channel, but I know the people like Larry Liston, 18th Street Vato, man, these guys know boxing. You know what I mean? Don't ever get it twisted. You know, we may have fun and talk shit, but at the end of the day, we know boxing. Larry Liston. Eubanks got schooled by Sanders and KO'd by Liam Smith, 2 opponents. Canelo has already destroyed himself, but is now second rate. He has no... Yeah, I mean, I already said that, bro. How long is it going to be? A year? He took a year and a half. The guy's had like, 2 fights in 3 years or 4 years? It's ridiculous. But they think he walks on water. You know what I mean? He's Cristo in boxing, you know? Meanwhile, they hate Canelo Alvarez. So it is what it is. Crips pandemic still worldwide back in. Yeah, it's heavy in there. But they're on, you know, it's evolved too. But you know where it's really big is in like Asian countries like Laos and Cambodia. Especially when they come over here. I'm in an area where there's a lot of Asian Crips. So people don't know this shit, man. This Crips is worldwide, baby. Worldwide. You know, Snoop Dogg took it to a whole nother level. But that's not even my lane. Cuck Lonzo is a drama queen. Yeah, that Vato, man. He be over here. Look, man, if you want to call me whatever, but just don't promote other people's channel. I find it offensive. Which he probably will. Boxing with Anthony. But hey, again, like, comment, subscribe, hop on. Oh, it's Mr. BDA. Is this the real BDA?
Yeah, what's up, man?
Hey, what's up, Mr. BDA? How you doing?
How am I coming through?
You're good, man. Always
Good?
crisp and clear. Yep.
Thanks for having me on, man.
Well, yeah, man, you're like the hub, the CEO.
I don't know about that, but
You are, bro.
I
I'm telling
appreciate
you,
it, man.
I'm keeping it real. Like, I've gone other places, and they said you're that dude. You're with BDA. Like, they, you're known, bro. They take shots at you.
Well, I've heard people say, BD is racist, and then when I encounter them, because they never really say it in the show, I go, well, what's your evidence? Some of the things you say sound. They always go to the sound and dog whistles and blah blah blah. And I'm thinking, well, do you think people are dogs or something? It's like you're the one that sounds racist. You're comparing people to dogs, subhumans. But anyway, I don't sweat it.
No. It's just interesting because it's like they're watching. They're obviously watching, And what I tell them, I say, hey man, he lets anybody come on and talk, so you're more than welcome to go to his show. And obviously they never do. And these are bigger personalities. I'm not gonna say their name, but they're just constantly taking shots at you. So,
Oh, you should say their names, but
you want me to say it right now? I can tell you the guys that I know of, if you don't mind. I don't know. Like I don't want to be teaching it, but okay, yeah. Like Punch Drunk Boxing. Like I was arguing about something. He was like, "Oh yeah, I know you're on BDA. I know you guys are anti-PDC. I know you guys are Canelo fanboys." I'm like, Punch, like. You're more than welcome to go over there. Like, don't accuse me of being a certain anti-PDC just because you think BDA is anti-PDC. I said, go over there. He'll let you. And then he just like went radio silent.
He just went what?
He went radio silent.
Oh, of course. Well, I mean, listen. I've said it before. It's just people don't listen, man. People just hear, but they don't listen to what people say. I'm not anti-PBC. I want more boxing. But if you have, it's like let's say you like pizza, right? And there's different brands of pizza out there. There's one brand that just constantly, they could be doing better. They got the great ingredients, but they just give you a bad product. And it tastes like shit. You're gonna say, well, it's pizza, so I like it, and you have to lie and say that you like. I don't get it though. So it says, no, I'm not rooting against the PBC. It's just they offer a bad product, and then they got lackeys going around that defend it. And so it's again, I think people do more hearing rather than listening, which is a shame because I mean it's all spelled. I try to spell it out to people, and some people still don't get it. And then of course BDA. What does that mean, BDA? Because I'm one person, but then we got Jimmy, we got Recognize, we got Bucho, we got Gonzalo. They all have their different views. And some of them, Recognize doesn't like Canelo. I used to dislike Canelo back in the day in 2016. As I wanted to see him fight Golovkin, he wasn't. He fought a welterweight and then Liam Smith, which wasn't a bad fight, but I mean, come on. But then when he started, after the Triple G rematch, he started surging ahead, and I said, whoa, okay, I got to give this guy his credit. But if he starts fucking up, of course I'm going to criticize him.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I was the same way with Canelo Alvarez, and then, yeah, he proved us wrong. And then he goes on to go on to Undisputed. You know what I mean? But for BDA, man, BDA has the best channel in boxing. Where can they find you, BDA?
If I'm right here. No, okay. Well, I mean, listen, go to BDA. Go to BDA Boxing. Check out the Twitter. I mean, Twitter, we're not really active on Twitter. It's just mainly the main channel, BDA Boxing. That's the hub. I'm going to start branching off to BDA Live because we're going to be switching it up. It's going to be a new order of video posting. So it's most of the smaller videos or, shorter, less, what's the word I'm looking for here? Formal. The more informal videos are going to be on BDA Live, and the main channel is going to be mainly podcasts and like big time documentaries, big time features.
Okay, yeah. BDA has excellent documentaries. Check them out. Like, comment, subscribe to BDA. It's a fascinating Discord where you can get fascinating conversations, right?
Well, thank you. Yeah, man, I appreciate it.
But hey, go ahead, BDA.
I wanted to ask you. Okay, so we saw Joshua knock Ngannou the fuck out, right?
Yes.
And you saw what a guy with firepower who's got some snap to his shots was able to do to Ngannou. I'm looking at how Canelo punches, the way he knocked out Kirkland, guys that drop their hands. And I can't help but feel that if McGregor would have stepped in against Canelo, as opposed to Floyd Mayweather, I think Canelo would have iced him, flattened. But what do you think?
Of course. I mean, look, man, these guys, these MMA guys, they're not on the level. They're just not. Like did you see the Shane O'Malley fight last night?
No, I didn't.
You didn't watch Sugar Shane O'Malley?
I don't even know who. Okay, I've been hearing about that dude. I see him on Twitter and all that. He looks like a clown. But what division does he fight at, and how good is he? Like, what's the deal with him?
I believe it's like welterweight. Well, because they have their welterweights like at 170 or some shit like
170,
that.
170, right.
Yeah. I think he's at like maybe bantamweight, what it would be equivalent, because it's like 145. Like, I don't know too much about it. I just follow, like, McGregor got me into MMA. You know what I mean? Because he was like knocking people out. He was basically, to me, he was like boxing, and that's why he was. They thought he could beat Floyd Mayweather because of the striking. I guess they call it striking. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So anyway, O'Malley is they're comparing him to McGregor. They're trying to make him the next McGregor, and it's because of his style. Like, people don't want to see that ground and pound bullshit. Like, he's doing a lot of pivoting, countering, he's jabbing, but it's so basic. Like, a boxer would sleep him. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. That there's a difference in striking, speed, timing, precision. Boxing, that's what we were hearing all the way up in the build-up to the Ngannou fight is, and Joe Rogan is one of the main proponents of this. Is that he says, well, MMA guys, they're good at everything. And they think that because they're good at everything, every little thing, all they have to do to excel at it is really just focus on that more. But it's not, man. Some of these dudes in boxing started boxing, let's say at 15. Some of them even way younger. In the United States, you guys can start out way earlier than here in Canada, for example. In Mexico's United States, they let people start off as young as 6 years old. They can have fights, or 7, I think, something like that, something extremely young. And so these guys are from that age, they're perfecting punching. But in a lot of MMA guys, it seems to me, they seem to think, oh, okay, punching, I'll hit the punching bag, I'll hit the mitts, I'll spar a little bit, and now I'm good to box. And it's like, no, man. Okay, obviously, if you can punch, if you can string a couple of combos together, first of all, you got to learn how to punch properly. Some of these guys already do that to an extent, but then comes really taking it to the next level, which is how to telegraph your punches less and less, how to really have perfect technique, turning over your punches without flailing your elbows, or flaring your elbows, or stepping in too much, or some people, when they throw the jab, you'll see them actually pull back a little bit and then jab, so like a machine motion, and that's a way of telegraphing it. And so it's all those little things that take a lot of work. And then on top of that, a lot of these wrestlers and MMA guys, that's what they do. They're grapplers, so their musculature develops differently. The reflexes, the explosiveness of the muscle, a lot of them is more conducive to grappling, and exploding in the clinch or whatever. And that's a different type of motion than boxing, where you actually have to stretch out the muscle by punching, and you have to do it at the correct time, because if you're always tense, that's going to burn energy up, which is what something that happened to Conor McGregor against Mayweather. So it's what I'm trying to say here is it's a much different thing. But these guys overlook boxing. They think, oh, I'm just going to hit the mitts, I'm going to hit the bag, and as soon as they look good on that, they think they can box, and they can't, because now you got somebody punching at you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna say something here. You know how the internet, they're gonna think I'm a fraud, but I worked in I was a trainer in the boxing gym, a boxing gym, but they had MMA, right? So I did boxing things, and I worked with MMA guys, and we had professional MMA guys come in, and they can't fight. I'm telling you, bro, that they always need help on boxing, because their technique is awful. They're like wrestlers, they're jiu-jitsu, but they always need help with boxing, and they get beat by amateurs easy, just getting pieced up. Like you said, their reflexes, their timing. People were showing Welcome Never Sobers. I'm gonna drop you in. Okay, did you see look on Twitter? People are saying, "Oh, look at Andy Ruiz, how he ate Anthony Joshua's punches." Did you see that on Twitter?
Yeah, I saw that one.
Yeah, and it's like because in boxing, like what you're saying, it's a whole amount of knowing how to embrace first shot. So when you throw a jab, you're supposed to keep your right hand tucked. You know what I'm saying? And bring it right back, right to your chin. Did you see what he did? He like pawed. He did some stupid shit. He pawed, went into a shell and got caught. Andy Ruiz did the same thing, but when he did it, it was more like a dip. You understand what I'm saying? Like you dip with the shoulder, so you kind of lessen the impact.
Yeah, and there's also a lot of conditioning stuff that goes on and mental stuff. Believe it or not, mentally, there's a certain mental component to taking a punch. If you see it coming, for some reason, you're able to brace yourself forward and take it. Now, that doesn't mean it's not going to hurt you. You know, it's going to stun you. You're going to see white. You might be wobbled. But there's a difference between that and not seeing it coming at all. And that's the punch that's going to ice you. It's going to make you go out cold. Now, I also want to just clarify that I'm not disparaging MMA guys in boxing. Again, at my gym, there's a lot of it's one of those hybrid gyms where one half is boxing and the other one they have a cage and all that. And these guys do hold their own with the amateur boxers and even some of the professionals that are there. But there's a difference between that and thinking that just because a guy's fights in the UFC, which is the pinnacle of MMA, well, then that means that if you just give him a couple of fights, he's going to make it top level in boxing, and it just doesn't work out that way. Boxing, for every division, there's about 50 guys that want to make it. And when we see the top 10, we're seeing cream of the crops guys from all around the world making it to that position. So, that's one of the problems with boxing and with boxing fans and casual boxing fans. You will mostly see these guys, they're the ones that talk a lot about narratives and, what fans are saying this and fans are saying that, but you rarely hear them talking actual boxing. Those are the guys that tend to call a guy in the top 10 a bum. They'll call a top number 8, like Avenisian, for example.
Right.
A guy like Crawford, okay, he should beat him easily, but that doesn't mean Avenisian sucks. When you put Avenisian in there against a guy from 150 pounds from the UFC, put him in a boxing match, Avenisian is going to make him look bad. So Avenisian is going to look like a fucking Sugar Ray Robinson in there.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying is there's so these MMA guys, just because they excel in UFC doesn't mean they could excel in boxing and make it, forget top 10, maybe even in the top 20 they wouldn't make it.
You know this video? There's guys that cross over to MMA and they'll do it for 2 to 3 years and they'll be a champion. You know what I'm saying?
I didn't catch the first part. What did you say?
I said there's guys who will cross over to MMA for 2 to 3 years and then they'll become a champion.
Really? Oh, well, yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, but that's different too, right? Like that's more like, Brock Lesnar. How many fights did he have before he beat Couture? 3 fights?
Yeah.
Or something like that? Yeah, so.
It was less than 5.
Then again, that's because wrestling is a big component of MMA. He excelled as a wrestler, so he was able to just fucking molest people in there and just drop them and they wouldn't prevent them from getting up. For a boxer, it is going to be hard because I tell you what, man, it would have to be a boxer to excel. For a boxer to excel in MMA or just survive, you would have to have a guy who knows how to box and who could somehow scramble all the time and snuff all the takedowns, smother the takedowns.
I disagree, BDA. Clarissa's doing amazing there.
No, but that's what I'm saying. A guy, look, what was the name? KJ Noons. Remember that dude?
Yeah.
Sounds a little familiar.
KJ Noons was he had decent boxing skills, above average in MMA, and he was able to prevent people from taking him down. He beat Nick Diaz. He handed him one of his first losses. And he was actually pretty good with the boxing and preventing takedowns. I'll give another example. Jose Aldo, when he fought Chad Mendes the first time, Mendes couldn't take him down. And he tried about 3-4 times. Aldo stuffed all the takedowns. As soon as that fourth takedown he snuffed it, he was like, okay, Aldo's he's got this. Because what the fuck, Chad Mendes isn't gonna outstrike him. And then lo and behold, Aldo stopped him. Then in the rematch, by the time the rematch comes, Mendes got his shit together and was able to box with the guy's strike. Then it became a much more competitive fight. So what I'm saying is, imagine if a boxer was able to snuff the takedowns. That he would be a very dangerous guy, because who the fuck is going to be able to stand with him in a boxing match? Maybe the kicks would be a problem though, that's for sure. But there's potential there for boxers. But again, the main point of this conversation is that the MMA guys really need to stop thinking that just because a guy excels in the UFC, that he's going to be able to make it in the top 10 of any division in boxing.
No, but dude, I'm telling you, dude, there's like that guy Alex Pereira, the Brazilian. He came over to UFC. He's been with like less than like it's been less than 3 years. In his second year, his first year, he won a belt. He beat that guy out of Sonya. He lost the belt, and then the following year, he's moved up a weight. I think it might be within the same year, but he moved up a weight class and he beat the champion in that weight class. Or it was like a vacant belt, and he won like a belt in 2 different divisions in the UFC. He's been less than 3 years of him.
So is this guy a world level kickboxer or what? What is he?
Yeah, he's a Muay Thai fighter, kickboxer. You know what I mean?
But is he one of the best Muay Thai guys in the world, or?
Yeah, I'd say so. He was like a gore kickboxer.
Oh, okay.
But he's subpar on the floor.
Well, I've seen him box. I have seen clips of him boxing, and he's got a good sense of distance and all that. But then he's got his chin way up in the air, like in Muay Thai fight. I'm thinking that's gonna get you knocked out, man, in a boxing match, rather.
Yeah, dude.
Hey, Sobers, how come How come there's no background noise here? But every time you're on the BDA show, there's people screaming. There's like you got somebody cooking in the background, sizzling. A lack of respect, I tell you, man. What's going on?
Because I came out here to smoke.
Oh, okay.
Usually I got my kids running around and shit, bro. Can't avoid it.
I wanted to ask you guys. You seem to be more attuned to the UFC. It really does seem like UFC attracts a younger demographic. I was watching somebody posted a video on Twitter of they do these Q&A sessions with the UFC guys, so people in the crowd can actually ask questions. Which I don't know why they don't do that in boxing. Boxing really shoots itself in the foot. But anyway, I'm looking at a lot of these guys asking Pereira questions. They're like young guys, they're 18, 20-year-olds. They're like, hey, Alex, how are you going to knock these dude the fuck out? And, it's like, what the fuck? And I'm thinking there's a lot of two soy boys, I noticed. There was one guy called Joey MMA or something. I was watching his reaction to Joshua knocking Ngannou out. And he's like, oh, dear. Oh, no. And I'm thinking, what's going on? Are there more soy boys?
The media for MMA, bro, is very fucking, like you're saying, soy. They're very weak. It's a bunch of Ariel Hawanis. It's a bunch of dudes that, just like the boxing writers, they didn't want to do boxing. They wanted to do something for basketball, whatever. You know what I mean? But they end up in MMA. They end up as an MMA writer. There's a bunch of lames. I don't listen to any of the MMA media, dude. They're all terrible. Like, that's a good point, BD. They're all fucking terrible.
Like, who else, man? Who else? Who are some of the other guys that you go, okay, that's a different demographic?
There's the Luke Thomas, I guess. But I never listened to his ass.
What's the name of Luke Thomas's friend, the other bearded guy?
I don't know.
There were two. Didn't he used to have a show with another bearded guy? He used to work for Showtime too sometimes. Or I think he still does. No, not anymore. But anyway, that dude, his co-host, for other bearded co-host, he's the one that one time he was interviewing Mayweather for the Logan Paul fight, and he let it slip. Like, so Mayweather, some people say that you dog fighters, and then Mayweather made a big deal of it. He's like, oh, hold on. Who'd I dog? And the other guy, well, it doesn't matter. Let's just keep going. No. Who did I dog? And he made it this awkward, cringe thing. The other guy didn't even know. The bearded guy doesn't know much about boxing, so he couldn't explain. But it was funny, man. You're right, man. But that's what I'm saying is this demographic in MMA, it seems like they're more casuals too.
More mainstream, I think.
Yeah, they're getting into it because it's a popular thing now, rising in popularity rather. But I do have to wonder how much they really enjoy the MMA. I don't know, man. They seem to be very young too, and that's a good thing though, because there's more. I've noticed that with MMA, there's more memes there than with boxing.
Yeah, I think the guys try to be more entertaining. The fighters, like the press conferences and stuff, the way they set it up. I think they know. They try a little bit harder. They're a little bit hungrier to be noticed.
Well, who is the like? That's what I was asking Bucho today. Is like, who's the big MMA star that they have right now?
Oh, they're hurting for one right now, dude. They're trying to make one. That guy, Sean O'Malley, whatever. They're trying to make him into a star. He might have. We'll see how popular he gets after that performance. But if you see the cheers, dude, that guy Cheeto, that guy he fought. When they asked O'Malley a question, he tried to answer. They started cheering over him, saying the other guy's name. to the point where he couldn't answer. You know what I mean? So it's someone the UFC is really trying to push really hard, but it's not catching on as much because they're kind of taking care of him a little bit. They giving him favorable matchups, and you don't see that often in the UFC. And the fans notice, and they don't like that shit. And that's kind of what's up with that. I think that guy. You know what I mean?
What about that dude then? The guy that just lost recently. He lost his belt. The one that beat Adesanya.
Which one?
The crazy dude. That crazy dude that beat Strickland. Yeah. How about he was getting famous, right? He was on his way to becoming a mainstream guy, and then he just he lost his last fight. So how about the guy that beat him? Can he be a star? Or?
I don't know. He might lose out of Adesanya. It's some African dude. He's South African white boy. I mean, he's all right. He's cool. But they're gonna try to put him in there with that guy Adesanya so he can get his belt back. You know what I mean? They're not gonna do him any favors if it's a close fight or whatever. So they'll try to take the belt from him. They don't want him as a champ. Sean Strickland, I don't think they wanted him as a champ either.
Yeah, that's fucking weird. Then who do they have? You know, it's like the dude.
They want that boy, Sean O'Malley.
Chun Li?
Yeah, Sean O'Malley.
Oh, Sean O'Malley. You said Chun Li.
Who else, bro? I mean, they can't use John Jones like that. Yeah, they're ready for stars, dude. They're trying to build some up.
Someone's gonna come along.
They've been trying to tap in the Mexican market. They've been they had that Mexican card in February, right?
Yeah, they're trying to do that more often. That's good. That's cool. There's plenty of Mexicans that will jump in there.
And then we lost 2 fights on the card.
So check it out, bro. When they did that card in Mexico, it was a bunch of Mexicans, on the card, against a bunch of Brazilians. So that would be a good rivalry to start up in the UFC, bro.
Yeah.
Brazilians and Mexicans.
All the Mexicans
They're both like cannon fodder, kind of. They're both used as cannon fodder. You know what I'm saying?
Right now we are.
No, I'm saying they're the Mexican champions, but I'm saying they use, like, in boxing, they use Mexicans as cannon. They try to bring up Mexicans and use them as cannon fodder. And in MMA, they do that to Brazilians.
Oh, okay.
Is that right?
Yeah, because it's kind of a lot of the roots are there, you know. So there's always a bunch of Brazilians in every division. And
if you beat a Brazilian, then you made it. It's like, okay, you're legit.
Yeah, okay, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Okay.
But there's a lot of them.
The parallel, the correlation to
but that's what I was
throwing at each other in MMA. That's gonna be cool.
I remember in the mid 2000s, Bob Arum was really going for the Hispanic market, and then he's still technically very involved with Top Rank, but it's really the buff, his stepson or whatever. No, not stepson, son-in-law, I think. He's the one that he's been passing the reins over to him, and ever since then they've been trying to really catch a more urban audience, if you know what I mean, and which is stupid because it's already been proven the urban audience doesn't buy boxing. They're more focused on other sports, and boxing is just like a pastime for them. I think Thunderdome Boxing is the one that put it best. What they do is they just scroll through Twitter, watching highlights while they're playing NFL 2K. That's what they do, really. I mean, it's that's why they don't have a good grasp. They don't have a solid. They lack a solid grasp of boxing, and it's interesting because we were talking about MMA, and it seems like they have a fresher audience, which is always the audience you want to go after. If you're in marketing or whatever, you want to go after that 18 to 35 demographic, and MMA really seems to have more youngins watching, whereas boxing, it's a more traditional sport. You get a lot of boomers watching that. Now, contrary to popular belief, the LDBC, the reason why they segregated themselves was because they said, it's because we're being attacked by the majority. We're the minority, and we're being attacked by all these white boomers. Meanwhile, they fail to understand, or maybe they do understand, but you know how they are, they're very devious, that the boomers actually love Afro-American fighters. Muhammad Ali till this day, is considered a god for these boomers. So is Marvin Hagler. Terence Crawford now is like their version of a modern day Hagler, a guy who didn't have all the chances. But then again, they misconstrue that. Yeah, the PBC, they dicked him around, and they continue to dick him around even after he beat Spence. Look at how they wasted 6 months of his year in the latter part of 2023. But let's face the facts. Terence Crawford was getting paid very good money fighting a bunch of nobodies and no hopers like Ashad Amir Khan and a Venetian who's a good fighter, but he's clearly not on his level. And he's getting paid top dollar money for that. So it's not like he was starving to, it's not like he was looking for ways to feed his family. The guy was very well off. So, but my point is that a lot of these white boomers, they're not racist. The people who make it the most racial aspect on boxing racial is, we know who it is, the LDBC. So it's interesting to compare that to MMA, where it's much younger fighters, and they too seem to be infatuated with that, hip hop culture and all that. But still, at UFC, it remains, in my eyes, a little bit more, white, suburban, with the rock music and all that. Whereas you look at the top rank ESPN.
Change that.
They do a commercial. They're trying to do, trap music, and the guy mumble rapping, blah, 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 and I'm thinking, okay, who are you trying to appeal to here?
Yeah.
What do you think? So what do you guys think? I mean, am I off here or the demographic wise?
Well, I feel like UFC is taking a turn from that was more in the, 2010. After they sold to Hollywood, basically. They started getting real. I mean, I just don't know how to say it any other way than Hollywood. They started, the music they started using was different. They try to make their promos like a little prettier. They try to make it more artsy fartsy. I just didn't like what the UFC started turning into. Like today, I kind of don't like it. You know what I mean? You can see the influences in Hollywood for me, like for sure.
Yeah, but that's the thing. That's what interests me, man, about the UFC is who's gonna be the next. Because they're always producing somebody, but at the same time, their guys don't seem to last. Like McGregor, I think I already asked you this, Sobers, when I was in your show, but how long was his so-called prime?
I thought it was 2 years.
Like a two, 3 years.
I mean, in boxing, that's really nothing, right?
From 14 to 16, I think I remember.
Yeah. No, it's hard to stay undefeated in MMA, bro. Because Dana White doesn't sugarcoat it. Like, even if he does take care of you a little bit, he does put you in the heart eventually. He doesn't. There's not as much cherry picking going on.
Yeah, that's true.
And the fighters can't get bigger than the promotion. He tries to make sure that someone who did was Francis Ngannou. So after he fought, he left, the UFC because he tried to get bigger than the promotion. Whether it worked out for him. I mean, he made more in those 2 fights than he would have in the UFC for another 5 years. So he did his thing for money, but I don't know how it's gonna look going to PFL now, getting knocked out like that against Joshua. He looked really good. The hype was really good coming off that Fury fight. I don't know so much now. Not coming off that AJ fight, dude, because man, that shit was ugly, bro.
Dude, it's like it's a meme. It's fucking. It made every headline. Did they show it on ESPN? I don't know if they did, but I didn't see ESPN lately. But that shit is everywhere. But BBA,
you know what?
go ahead.
I didn't understand how much of a big deal it was to MMA guys, because apparently Ngannou had never been
like dropped. That's never happened, bro. No one's ever seen. Yeah, that's a big ass dude. Everyone he touched, BDA in the octagon, bro, that's what he did to them. Whether he hit him clean or not, but he was I won't say not as bad as Wilder, bro, but he would throw with bad technique. He would hit you with the inside of his fingers when he throws a punch. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
He was punching with the inside of his fingers.
Yeah, he would hit you with the inside of his palm, he wouldn't throw the punch properly, he'd slap.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? But he would knock you out like that. He'd knock these dudes out like that. And it was champion after ex-champion after ex-champion. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
yeah, man. But that's the other thing is, when did he come on the scene, on the MMA scene? When did he become champ? How many years ago?
I can't say. I just barely followed the guy since his last MMA fight. They were hyping him up.
Because he's 37, right?
Yeah, he was kind of late into MMA, bro. He's one of those guys, BD, that only did it for 3 years, and he was a champion. You know what I mean?
Well, that's what I'm saying. And then you got this Strickland guy that I mentioned. I just checked him out. He's 33. So these guys they're not exactly spring chickens in there. How old is Sugar Sean O'Malley?
I think he's like probably 26. He's pretty young at that. They got him young.
Okay, so yeah, okay.
And he's been in
they
the UFC a couple of years already. He took his time. Like that guy, he didn't try to jump up the ranks at all. You know what I mean? He said, "No, I'm gonna keep fighting guys that they offer me with no rank until I get my contract up and I get more money, and then I'll go up." So he was kind of smart about the way how he entered the UFC. A lot of these guys try to sprint to the top, you know?
Right.
Yeah, they got that Patty Pimblett. Is it Patty Pimblett? Who was the
Yeah,
other
he's
guy?
getting knocked out real soon, bro.
And then he sunk the joint out. They were trying to hype that white boy up. You guys called him a cuck. He was on the other card. But BBA, it's boxing's fault, because you gotta remember, boxing dropped the ball, right? Remember they used to be at Buffalo Wild Wings. They used to be in movie theaters, and it's gone because they weren't. Okay, here's what I mean. Like, we only got Canelo, right? And I guess Tank Davis, but in that era, you still had Cotto, Pacquiao, Ricky Hatton. Those guys could sell pay-per-views. You know what I mean? And boxing dropped the ball. They let these guys in by not having the big fight. And that's my take when you're saying these things about how UFC has kind of taken over.
You're right, man. Because boxing, it's like a government institution. It's very, very slow and reticent to change. I mean, look at what they do with the UFC. They have these press conferences. First of all, their characters are wilder in character. You know, they're more exorbitant and so they're very outlandish and outgoing. And you know, sometimes it can seem forced, but most of the time it actually works and it gets the ball rolling. You can see it on Twitter and social media that it gains traction. And then they have that thing there where they let people ask questions. In boxing, they never do that. It's like boxing press conferences are extremely boring, man. It's always the same thing. Right. They start out, and in comes fucking Espinoza, or then they call in the guy who owns the venue, and then they call in the promoter, and they always say the same shit. This is going to be a great fight. Meanwhile, it's fucking Haney versus Prograis. They always try to sell it like it's going to be a slugfest, and you know that's not going to happen. And then the fighters. The fighters, no personality. I just want to thank my team. I want to thank everybody for making this fight happen. Tune in; it's gonna be great. Now, every once in a while, we've you know, if it's genuine, it makes up for an entertaining press conference, like Benavidez versus Plant. That was some genuine, you know, animosity, and it worked to a certain extent. But you know, Canelo's not gonna really start trash talking unless somebody goes at him. It's like Canelo Munguia, that you have the fight you have here. That's a fight that doesn't need the trash talking, because it's going to sell. You know, Mexicans were going to pay for it. But the problem is, imagine if they weren't stars. It would be extremely boring. You know, Munguia ain't going to talk shit. You know, Canelo ain't going to talk shit. They're going to do their talking in the ring, which is why it's going to sell. But you have a real problem with the lack of characters. And if you don't have characters, then at least let the audience in. But that's a big no-no for these boxing people. They get the publicist, like the PBC, they got a female publicist, Kelly Swanson. And there was this Afro-Anglo writer, old guy, he goes back to the 60s. He called her white trash Kelly Swanson, because she's always screaming at people. She's always, okay, we're going. And then when they start trash talking, you can hear her in the background screeching, enough. One time, Bernard Hopkins, this was in the late 2000s, he was going on a tirade against MMA. You know, he was calling it gay. He says that the fighters wore panties and everything, and the woman starts calling him off. He was on a roll, even though he's wrong, you know. But he was funny what he was saying. This woman cuts him off, and I'm thinking, yeah, there you go, fucking stifle what little personality these guys have left.
They dropped the ball, and as you're saying this, the other example, like, you know, when I was really hardcore boxing, because I took a step away from it, I just was. It seemed like Mayweather Pacquiao killed the sport. I don't know how. I don't know why. It just seemed like it died after that. Because I remember there was a stretch, an era, like even casuals, right? I was at a dinner with friends, girls, you know, they were having it was a little girl powwow or something. And they brought the, you know, doofuses, the boyfriend doofuses to pay for dinner. And me and the guys, we start talking about, we got together and I was like, hey, man, I was like, we got to go. And they were like, the guys were like, where are you going? I'm going to go catch Morales and Pacquiao. Oh, for real? Where's it at? I said, let's go to Buffalo Wild Wings. Like, that was an era. It's like we had, you know, Pacquiao, Barrera. They were pay-per-views. What else? You know, Manny Pacquiao, Ricky Hatton. There was like multiple. Miguel Cotto was a pay-per-view star. I even went and bought Sergio Martinez and Julio Cesar Chavez. It was like a whole era, and then I don't know, it just died. Like we don't have multiple stars anymore. It's crazy.
You're absolutely right. I mean, could you imagine if Haney versus Garcia was on pay-per-view, HBO pay-per-view? Even though these guys are more well known, especially Garcia, more well known to the average person out there, I don't think it's that they would put it up in any of these venues. Like there's this, like for example, here in Montreal, there was a bar that I used to go to, little corner of nowhere, but it was a fight fans bar. Fighters would show up there. A lot of amateur people that I knew from the amateur days, they would show up there. Coaches. It was a relatively small bar, but it was homely. It was grassroots. Then the pandemic came along, fucking ruined it. It doesn't exist anymore. You gotta understand, this bar was around since 1989, and they destroyed it. So now there's another venue. It's like one of these Buffalo Wings type. It's a sports bar, and it's giant. Right. It's high tech compared to the one I was talking about. They got screens everywhere. It's much more glossy and shiny, but it's got no soul. I remember one time I went to see. I forget what I went to see there, and it was in the same night that Toronto Raptors had made it to the NBA Finals, and it was a bunch of people there, but mostly white people with caps on, like base, those caps that people wear where they don't. What do they call it? Those caps that they leave it flat. What do they call? Hats? No, not the trucker hat. The same hats that rappers wear. But they leave the shit flat. They don't curb the front end.
With the front bills.
Yeah, and they leave the sticker on and all that. Yeah, and they leave the sticker on and everything. And I said, oh boy, these people are probably. Well, okay, yeah, but you're different because you don't play that 100%. But these people, I could tell, like if I would have followed them to their cars, once they turned it on, it probably would have been playing Drake or something. So anyway, it was just that type of demographic watching the basketball game, and there was no soul. These people don't know fucking boxing. They might know Canelo, they might know Joshua, Fury. They don't know. If you ask them about Matias, they're certainly not going to know who he is. Maybe not even Haney. Maybe they would know Tank Davis though, because that would fall in line with. Some rapper that they listen to probably talk about Tank Davis, they would probably know. But other than that, Frank, you're right, man. Boxing really did drop the ball.
It did, and UFC took over. And here's, I was thinking as you're saying that, how many, like I went to go see Kelly Pavlik and Jermaine Taylor at a sports bar. I don't know if you remember that. They had a pay-per-view. Kelly Pavlik and Bernard Hopkins was pay-per-view. Like there were some serious names and they did okay. They weren't doing Floyd Mayweather stuff. But it seemed like Floyd Mayweather, it seemed like a concerted effort. Maybe Showtime, HBO was exiting Showtime. They just really invested everything in Floyd Mayweather and quit boxing. I'm gonna say it on my channel. You don't have to agree. This is not the what do they say? The feelings of the show or the panel. But it seemed like they wanted to go in a different direction instead of building Kelly Pavlik, building Eric Morales' and Pacquiao's. I mean, we used to have those things, and it was constant. It was like every weekend. Miguel Cotto was fighting in a pay-per-view. Sergio Martinez had pay-per-views. It was crazy. It was a lot of good boxing. Dale Corrales, Castillo. It was just every month. Every month was something big. Nonito Donaire used to headline pay-per-views. Am I just an old head, or are we just old heads?
No, I remember watching everyone do workout Montiel and the other guys. But what you guys were talking about, like going to the bar and stuff, it reminded me of. Can y'all hear me straight?
Yeah, you're kind of breaking
cutting
up,
off, man.
I'm cutting off. All right, let me give me a second. Let me make sure my shit's not fucked up.
But yeah, there was a whole era, Well, Gotti Ward wasn't pay-per-view, but it was massive. It's like you could look forward to these things, and it just died. It just is gone. And what's the saying? Nature abhors a vacuum, and we just have to face facts. UFC has filled that void, and I don't think we're gonna get it
really
back.
has. It really has. I mean, if it's a big if it's a big boxing bout, it will still attract some fans. I mean, some celebrities. But like yesterday, I was looking at Trump shows up, and then you get the guy from you get the guy from sports bar or sports tool media, whatever that, the pizza guy. Then I saw Steve-O was in the crowd as well. Yeah, and then I saw Steve-O, and I'm thinking, it's like the younger celebrities showing up, other than Trump. But fuck, Trump's the former president, possible future president again. And what does boxing have? When Tank Davis fought Ryan Garcia, I think Madonna shows up. I don't give a shit about Madonna anymore. So yeah, there's a lack of.
Yeah, what's interesting, BDA, as you say these things. Well, thank you for joining, man. I really appreciate everybody.
Thank you.
No, I appreciate it, man. I like this conversation because it just gives me ideas. It's like as you're saying it, but the new stars are internet people. Like, who the fuck is Dave Portnoy? He's an internet personality. Like, what you're saying, Madonnas, the rappers, like, nobody cares. It's all about these internet people. These do you know who Kai Cenat is?
Yeah,
he did that skit. Yeah, this is the UFC fans. This is the misfit boxing. We're gone, dog. We're dinosaurs.
And you know what the other thing is? UFC, which is its own entity, is also much more inclined to go for a rock and roll approach, both with its fighters and its upper management. I mean, Dana White is considered and hated by a lot of mainstream media pundits as because he's a right-wing type of guy, right? Meanwhile, in boxing, what do we have? We have fucking Al Heyman, who never talks, but you can assume what type of politics he follows. Lou DiBella, who's clearly a fucking Democrat. Al Bernstein, always tweeting against Trump. You saw that fat Italian dude that said that he didn't want Munguia Canelo.
Vito Melanicki.
Vito dude. And then he ended up. Yeah, then he ended up apologizing. I'm thinking, nobody at the UFC would ever apologize. And this is coming from a Mexican. It's like, listen, the fucking Mexican. I think if he said that, I don't give a shit. There's Mexicans that are gonna say the same thing probably. So fuck it. Hey, money's green, and that's the only color that matters. But the guy had to apologize, and I said, oh boy, I don't like it when. There were some Mexicans on Twitter that was, this is outrageous. And I'm thinking, come on, stop faking the funk, man. You don't give a shit about what he said. You just want to go after somebody. And that's what I'm saying. It's boxing's too PC, man. And it's not that it should be too outrageous and people just, being too controversial, but a little bit of it would help, I think.
Well, I think we got a new person, boxing fan Anthony. No D-bombs, jump in anytime. But as you're saying that, I think it's also the product. Like, let's not get away from the product. The UFC is still devoid as far as putting their best fighters on. Like, could you imagine if we had 3 or 4 years of Tank, Haney, and Tio, like when we had Morales, Barrera, Marquez, everybody made names off those guys. We could have had 3 or 4 years about that. We could have had 3 or 4 years of a roundtable of Joshua, Fury, and Wilder with some other guys coming in the mix. And boxing just shot itself in the foot by not giving us those things.
You're absolutely right. I mean, look at Ryan Garcia, Tank Davis. Tank Davis isn't even he's not even the best lightweight. It was essentially 2 top 10 lightweights fighting each other, but neither one was the best, nor were they fighting for all the marbles, obviously. And it did very good numbers. Now, it didn't do a million like they want to lead you to believe, I don't think. It seems like it was closer to 900,000 is the real figure. But nevertheless, it did better than most other pay-per-views from last year. And you can only imagine what would have happened had they built it up, and like you said, Haney versus Tank Davis, Haney versus Shakur Stevenson. Like even Shakur Stevenson versus Haney would do relatively well, I think. Not on pay-per-view, obviously, but if it's on ESPN, for example, or on the Zone. And if, again, this is the other problem with boxing, Vegas. Too many Vegas shows. It started, first of all, it relegated, like you said, it started entering a vacuum. First with the advent of closed circuit television. Then it went into cable, premium cable. So now, most people weren't paying for 15 extra bucks to watch HBO. So it became even more of a niche sport. Then they started keeping it in Vegas because the purses became exorbitant. And Las Vegas was the one that was going to come up with this extraordinary and side fees. And so all of the boxing started gravitating towards Vegas. No more Boston shows, no more LA shows, no more New York shows. That was really the place where you could get some grassroots fighters. You would have local and New York guys fighting in New York, and it would do great numbers. Which is why now, with the economy going the way it's going, you saw Haney versus Prograis apparently did very well in California. And that's why they would probably should have held it there for the Garcia fight. But even then, New York, I think it's going to do very well because it's going to allow people to to go see it. Even though the paper apparently the ticket sales were quite expensive. But the point is, keep it grassroots. Now the other problem is now that it's going to Saudi Arabia, that's a problem because they're going even farther. But at least those guys are going to be coming up with the money to make these fights happen. But then again, there's another flip side to that is now these guys are really going to start asking for the type of money that only Saudi Arabia can offer to fight each other. In other words, for Tank, you saw what Tank Davis said when the Turkey Sheik or whatever said, "Hey, yeah, we want to make Tank Davis versus Haney," and Tank said, "Well, he's first before you even consider it. You got to send me a car and shit." And it's like, "Oh, come on, man." That's also gonna be something negative consequence of those fights going to Saudi Arabia.
He thought he was being cute. You thought he was being insolent and cute. Can y'all hear me straight now?
Yeah, it sounds like you're starting a car.
Yeah. I am.
That's what I thought.
I was gonna say, no, but what y'all guys were saying about the bar, man. I remember going to a bar to watch Floyd fight Marquez, and there was this white dude there, but he must have been some kind of Mexican, like he must have been mixed or something, right? Like kind of buff and like he was tatted up. He had like 90s tatted up. He had like the tribal tattoos and shit. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I can't remember exactly what he was saying. It might have been puto or he might have been saying crip, bro. But he was Marquez was losing the fight right handedly, and he was right there just fuck this puto up, Marquez. Fuck that! Like the way he was getting into the fight and how bad he wanted Marquez to win. Like there's no way this dude's just white, right? But it's just funny. Like I haven't seen anybody get into a fight like that, and like there's some black dudes on the side that kind of that looked like they didn't like what he was saying, but they also didn't want to confront him. But I could also see them chuckling as Floyd like easily won the fight, and this fool was over there like rage. He was like chimping out and shit. Fuck this grip up, Marquez. Fuck him up. And you know what I mean? Like just drinking beer and shit. Like look like he's turning all red and shit. But it was weird because it looked like a white dude, you know what I mean? But like, he must have some kind of mixed. And you'll see that around, you know what I mean? Like a Miklo, you know what I mean?
They're all UFC guys now. They are. The last fight I went to a bar with, I think, was Triple G Canelo. That was it. The second one. And that I haven't seen anything since. Around the area, there's nothing advertised. I used to call fucking for every pay-per-view, hey, you showing it? And it was getting less and less. And now it's like extinct. It's done. It's no more.
Yeah, and the big question always is, well, who's next? Who's the next star? And with boxing,
that's a good point. Yeah,
they have to fight in the U.S. too to stay relevant. And that's the other thing is like Tank Davis is on the cusp of being mainstream, but he's not fighting anybody, and he's with a company that has never really developed a mainstream star. I mean, the closest they came to was they had potential. They could have done it with Spence. They failed. Could have done it with Wilder. They failed. Now that they got Tank, they have Jaron Ennis, who got a lot of boxing people feel he could be the next, boxing terror. Meanwhile, he's close to being 27, and again, there seems to be no direction with him. The direction is listless. And Tank Davis, again, maybe Tank Davis could make it at 30, because he's 27 now, 28.
He's older.
At 30, at 30 or 31, he could strike. Because that's what essentially happened with Mayweather. It wasn't until he was 10 years in as a pro that he got the De La Hoya fight, and then he became mainstream. So it's possible, but sometimes it's the guy you least expect. Because guys, let me tell you, when Chavez was about to fight Martinez, he was that was the guy the Mexicans were going for. Mm-hmm. And I was always skeptical of him because he'd already struggled. He was getting by because of his size, really, more than anything. So I wasn't really surprised by or impressed by Chavez Jr. Meanwhile, you had Canelo fighting on HBO too, or Showtime sometimes, and he was already hot in Mexico, but in the US he still lacked that Chavez Jr. profile. And then lo and behold, 2 years later, boom, 2014, it's Canelo who surpasses Chavez Jr. as a real serious boxer who is going to carry that Mexican torch. So it's the same thing here. It's sometimes some Mexican dude's going to come out of nowhere. I mean, look at fucking Divino, 126. He came out of nowhere. Gonzalo and I were talking about him before, having watched him on YouTube, Mexican boxing networks and all that, but we didn't really so he came out of nowhere. Like that dude that beat what's the name of Rocha? That dude came out of nowhere too. Santillán. Even though I know Sobers said that, I think Sobers picked him to beat Rocha, but all of that, like that's what's gonna, Chavez Senior, he came out of nowhere too. If you think about it, he used to fight here or there, maybe the forum, but nobody really knew who he was. And then once he got his first title at 130, and then once he got to 135, he was on. So that's what's gonna happen with Mexican boxing. I think it's gonna be a guy that fights mostly in Mexico, and then he finally comes over to the U.S. and boom, it turns out he really is worth the record.
Hey, Frank at BD8. Let me ask y'all this, bro. That win that Espinosa got over Ramirez, does that make him? Is that a better win than anybody other champions have at 126? Like over Venado? And who's the other dude? Raymond Ford. And who's the last one? Vargas. Yeah, he definitely is not really a champion right now, is he? Do you guys think Espinosa might be the strongest one right now, or is it low?
Vargas is too one-dimensional, man. So yeah, I agree with you there. It's not Vargas. You know what? I think you're right. I think that Espinosa win over Ramirez, because not for nothing, but look at what Ramirez was able to do to Abraham Nova, and then look at what O'Shaquie Foster had to go through one division above against the same Nova. He had to go through hell just to eke out a decision over that dude. So yeah, Ramirez is a problem, man. And the fact that Espinosa was able to not only get up from a knockdown, but finish stronger than Ramirez is. Yeah, I think that was a good win, a better win.
You know who I thought was on the cusp was Virgil Ortiz, and then he just fell off planet Earth. I thought he was next for sure. He kind of lacked the personality. Like Bam should be next, but his weight class is too small. But I thought, Virgil, he could possibly, but he needs the big name. Like,
what if he? I heard that he might fight that dude Madrimov next. He was fought on the. He fought on the undercard of that.
But
that knockout KO.
He already has
that guy. Madrimov's good, bro. Madrimov's good, bro. That'd be a hard fight for Ortiz.
Madrimov's good. Madrimov's good, but he's also a little vulnerable. And it seems to me like he lacks endurance. There was a fight against Eric Walker. That was a hard fight for him. And then there was another one. The one before this, when he fought Kubranov or whatever his name is. He really tried to stop the other dude, and he got tired trying to stop him in the last rounds. There's something about him that lacks endurance. And if you watch his fight against Michel Soro, that guy Michel Soro is a French guy, underrated, and he's very well schooled, kind of like fucking Ortiz. Ortiz just doesn't really telegraph his shots, very straight. But then again, that's the big problem, is how much does he have left? Because he didn't fight at all in he had one fight in 2022, didn't fight at all in 2023. He only had one fight recently, and the referee fucked it up with an UK stoppage, less than a round of action. They need to get him in there against somebody else, man, and then the Madrimov, because right now I don't think he's got a... Yeah.
He needs some rounds. He needs to get some rounds in. That guy Madrimov, he looks kind of like Triple G in the face to me, bro.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of... Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, but no, just speaking of stars, like, who's probably going to be the most likely biggest star? Like, I knew he's already a star, but not for us. Tim Tszyu. Because we're talking about stars. Like, Tim Tszyu's probably going to be the next star, in that weight class, because he sells tickets, because of exciting style. But he's going to need a big name to put him like a solid, consistent pay-per-view star. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's the other thing, is when people go, the stars need to fight in the US. Not really. I mean, Joshua's a mainstream star in the UK. Fury's almost there. Not as famous as Joshua, but he's almost there. Inu is a fucking rock star in Japan. Tzew's got a very good following in Australia. So this whole thing of, they have to fight in the US. I mean, there's guys that fight in the US and they can't sell out a fucking venue. Even Stephen Fulton said nobody... Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love, shows me no love. They don't give a shit about him. Same thing with Jaron Ennis. They don't give a shit about Jaron Ennis. So Yeah, this whole thing of these American guys. Look at what Haney fought twice in Australia, and they're getting down on their knees, sucking his cock, saying, "Oh, he's comparing him to Glenn Johnson, the Road Warrior." It's like, what the fuck? He fought twice. Plenty of guys fight abroad, and they don't get as much dick sucking as Haney got.
Hey,
by the
BBA,
American
I told you fools be coming for your neck. Johnny, this guy named Johnny Thunder said, BDA. Thought you had self-respect. What are you doing hanging out here?
First of all, that's Mirage. That's Mirage, and then he's saying, "I thought you had self-respect," but he's showing up here too. So, yeah, then he's showing up here too. So what the fuck, man? I mean, where's your self-respect?
Mirage is honorary Mexican. I told him he's on. We adopted Tim Zoo, because he said he likes to fight like a Mexican. And I said, since he loves Benavidez, I think he wants to be Mexican because he actually picked against Tim Zoo. So I'm like, you're a self-hater, so maybe you want to be Mexican.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Yeah, he fought. I don't know that guy. He's a character, man. He keeps it interesting. I'll give him that. He's really gonna go down with the ship.
Yeah, but he needs to switch it up, though. I told him this a while back. Like, he can't always be, because he would jump on the open lines and, we're talking about something else. He comes in, Benavidez, Canelo. It's like, oh man, come on, man. It's you gotta switch it up. Variety is the spice of life.
You gotta give it to the guy. Like he's dug in. I mean, I respect someone that sticks to their guns. I respect a guy like that more than a flip flopper. That's all I'm saying.
That's true. That's true. Oh yeah, you're right. You're right.
Go ahead. Yeah, the star thing in boxing, it's like you need multiple stars, and that's what I'm saying. We don't have that. It's gone. Like Zab Judah in his own right was a star. Shane Mosley held pay-per-views. I'm just gonna keep saying it, man. That shit just went away. It seemed like the Mayweather era killed that.
Zab Judah was not a star. Zab Judah was not a star.
Well, he could bring in numbers. Like he fought everybody. You know what I mean? He had a pay-per-view with Mosley. He fought Amir Khan. He was
Zab Judah. Zab Judah didn't fight Mosley, but I mean, when he fought Mayweather, that fight did, I think, 300,000 pay-per-view buys. Which nowadays they would have been pumping into champagne bottles up and say, "Whoa, 300K!" Yeah, and it was a guy Zab Judah coming off a loss. Now that undercard was a good undercard, though. I still remember it, but that's the problem. You mentioned Mayweather Pacquiao and how a lot of people say that really was a big blow to boxing. The undercard sucked because fucking Bob Arum knew, and Al Heyman, they knew, look, people are gonna pay this for the main event, and so they just put whatever together on the undercard, and it was horrible. And then the main event was horrible, so it was a big total shit show from boxing, and it really, I mean, it cannot be understated. It was really a big blow for boxing.
Yeah, I went to a fight party for that fight, dude, and everyone was pretty disappointed. I really didn't even pay attention to the fight. I kind of felt like I knew what was going to happen, and I didn't think it was going to be exciting. And I was trying to tell them, hey guys, let's get drunk and just have a good time because the fight is not going to be, what you guys are hoping for right now.
And you know what the worst thing is? That they didn't even do a rematch because they knew, first of all, Mayweather didn't really want one. And even if because Pacquiao said he had an injured shoulder, which apparently was true, but were they really gonna bank on selling that a rematch around that? Like, hey, Pacquiao had a hurt shoulder, but now he's got he's got a healthy one. They weren't gonna risk that either. Because again, they had to pay these guys exactly. Because remember, they were gonna have to pay these guys 70 mil or 100 mil, between 70 and 100. So that's a lot of money, man. So they weren't gonna risk that, man.
What, 2014? We're talking about 10 years, almost 10 years ago.
Yeah, 2015, man.
I mean, almost a decade ago. Quentin, do you know Quentin Lassiter is, BDA? Apparently, you're a popular person here.
Lassiter, he's on the BA show. He comes to my channel too, bro. He's cool, bro.
It sounds like he's somebody we know. He's just using the troll account. I think he's somebody we know because, like you said, I recognize it. Hey, BDA, you think Marquez is happy that Canelo is fighting a guy he said he can beat?
Marquez will never be happy, man, because somebody posted a clip on Twitter. I think Canelo actually retweeted it, where I think it was after Canelo versus Golovkin 2, I think. And Juan Manuel Marquez is like, he could be, how he speaks in Spanish. Bueno, yo creo, he sounds like he's got the fucking broken nose that he never got repairs. Yo creo que la gente quiere ver a Canelo pelearse contra alguien muy bueno. And he says, I want to see him fight Billy Joe Saunders, Caleb Plant, Danny Jacobs. Who else did he mention? I forget who else he mentioned, but all those 3-4 guys he mentioned, Canelo ended up fighting them. And yet he's still around bitching and moaning about Canelo. So it's no matter who, he could beat the crap out of Benavidez and Marquez will still find something to complain about. And that's because Marquez is a fighter at heart. If he's already got his mind made up, he's just going to keep on fighting the opposite viewpoint.
I know what I think it is too, BDA. I think these guys are all around the same height, same size. Canelo's doing a lot more than them, so it's probably feeling like Marquez probably feels like I could probably fuck Canelo up. You know what I mean? I don't care if he's a little bit heavier than me or whatever. You know what I mean? Because they're all around the same height, bro.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get what you're saying now. Yeah, I could take him.
Yeah, meanwhile, Marquez is like...
That's I feel like he's kind of heat on him.
Somebody said that Canelo challenged him to a fight on TV, and that's where the beef began. Is that true?
Yeah, something like that. He did.
Like legit,
like, if you don't like me, you can fight me or something like that. And it's kind of like, you know what I mean? Like, fucked up, bro.
So ever since then, he just had a bone to pick.
Yeah, but I'm looking at it to make sure I'm not bullshitting.
So if you guys don't mind, I want to unpack this Canelo Munguia thing. You guys want to do that, or do you want to talk about AJ?
No, bro. I don't want. I tell you what I think about this fight, bro.
Go what?
I don't like it. I don't like this fight, bro. I don't like this fight, bro.
Break it down. Bust it open.
I don't like this shit, dude. I don't like Mexicans killing Mexicans what they want. And you're giving it to them, man. You're giving it to them, bro. You're giving it to them. That's what they wanted. Canelo don't fight Mexicans. He's scared of Mexicans. Oh, and now people are saying, what happened to Canelo? No, fight Mexican. Fight Benavidez, goddammit. He's fighting a Mexican now. And he might ruin this guy's career. I think Canelo's gonna fuck Jaime Munguia up, dude. And I don't know, dude. I don't like that shit, bro. They didn't fight
I
it.
agree.
You agree?
What's going on?
You're kind of breaking up, homie. Kind of
Can you hear me?
Yeah, Anthony.
Okay.
Go ahead.
What are we talking about?
We're talking about Canelo Munguia. Is it a fight you like? Is it a fight that you want? I mean, break it down.
We all want to see Benavidez. I think that's what we want. But if we have to see this one, then I guess I don't mind.
Okay. How do you guys think the fight's gonna do? Is it do?
I think Canelo's gonna destroy him. Personally, that's what I think.
Canelo's gonna destroy him.
Yeah. I think
so.
Benavidez as well, actually. But for some reason, I don't think he wants that fight.
You kind of got to.
I mean, I think if he wanted to fight Benavidez, it could happen. But I don't know. At this stage of his career, I think he just wants easy fights, and no one can really blame him for that because he has done everything in the sport that he's needed to do. So yeah, that's what I think about it.
Hey Frank, you know one thing I haven't forgotten, because we're talking about Canelo Munguia leading to Benavidez. One thing I haven't forgotten, man, is how a lot of these Afro-Anglos who dislike Canelo just can't stop talking about Benavidez as if it's a guy they root for. But meanwhile, they're only doing it because there's nobody else that, from their side of the street who could challenge Canelo. And so I remember when Benavidez was going to fight Andrade, and on paper it was like, oh, it's a mismatch for Benavidez because they know how good Benavidez is. But then as the fight started getting closer, their mental conditioning, their racial conditioning started kicking back and saying, hey man, I gotta root for the Andrade. He's my people. And so then they started. I saw some videos of some people saying Benavidez is too mechanical, he's too robotic. Andrews he has too much slickness to him, blah blah blah. And then when he got his ass beat, some of them actually calling to the shows upset. It's like, we're still the best in boxing. One guy called in, he said, how come you guys always bad-mouthing the Afro-Anglo fighters? And I said, well, what do you mean? Like, I break it down. Y'all always hating. He wasn't elaborating. He sounded drunk too, but he sounded more hurt than anything else. So that's the interesting thing is a lot of these guys are rooting. They just hate Canelo, so they're rooting for Benavidez against Canelo. But if there's another if Benavidez were to fight what's the name of that dude there that just he beat Steve Rolls in his last fight or before last fight? He fights on the zone. He's an Afro Anglo guy. Shotgun?
Not
No,
in
what's his
Philly.
name? No. It's American dude. Southpaw, I believe. He's very long. His name will come to me.
Okay.
If that dude were to fight Benavides, they would root for the other guy in a heartbeat. So that's just it's interesting to me. I gotta point that out, the disingenuous aspect of these guys rooting for Benavides just because they want to see somebody beat Canelo. But then as soon as if Benavides were to beat Canelo, they would turn on Benavides in a heartbeat.
Of course. I mean, his fight.
That's why I'm saying. That's why I don't want that fight, bro. Oh, my
It's a
bad,
great
Frank.
fight. I like the fight. No. It's a great fight. Like I'm gonna be 100% honest. I mean, half the people might log off after I say this, but like the last fights kind of were underwhelming. Well, look, because Jermell, he didn't come to fight, he ran, but still, like my dad called me and said, "Man, that was disappointing." It's like people expect, like, oh, Ammo Williams, yeah, but he's like 16-0. But I hear what you're saying, BDA. And Ryder, like, were you guys through by the Ryder fight? I mean, it was okay, but like this is a banger. We need to see. Like I think Canelo will be reestablished if he executes Munguia. Excuse my harsh language. What do you guys think about that? Like, does this get the juices flowing? You know what I mean?
Well, that's what I was gonna tell Sobers. Munguia is gonna lose to, top guys. He's not that good. He's like a Chavez Jr. He's got sass advantage more than anything, and his power. So it might as well be Canelo that takes him out. They do some good money. It's been a while since we had a good old Mexican shootout. Let's make it happen. But but Munguia is, look, I do give him his credit because I thought Ryder was gonna give him a harder fight, and meanwhile he just took him out. Stopped him. But again, a lot of that I believe had to do with the size advantage, and so that is still something that could be a problem for Canelo. But just Canelo likes it when guys go to him. He can just pick him apart. His last couple of fights, his guys on the defensive, like Charlo, even John Ryder, just on the very defensive. It's hard to stop those dudes, especially with his style nowadays, with his sledgehammer shot here and there. But you can tell he still cracks. I mean, look, he dropped Ryder, who's not an easy guy to drop. He dropped Charlo, and people say, yeah, but Charlo was smaller. Look, he's a taller guy than Canelo, longer arms. He filled up nicely to get to 168, and he had this relative advantage in speed and, of course, stamina. It wasn't the same thing, because some people try to say, oh, well, if you didn't give Errol Spence credit for being Mikey Garcia, you shouldn't give Canelo's credit for beating Charlo. But what advantages did Mikey Garcia have against Spence? He was smaller, he was fatter, slower, didn't hit as hard, didn't throw as many shots. So what the fuck was he gonna do?
Man, Mikey looked fat at 147. But you know what, BDA? I reconsider after what you said. You know what? Every now and then you do need to bring a stout warrior from one of the lesser tribes up for sacrifice. So go ahead and bring Munguia up. Put the ceremonial paint on him and shit. Get him a little necklace. Hey, let him meet Canelo at the top of the pyramid. He didn't get his heart cut out at the end of it. You know what I'm saying?
But you know what, Sobers, you know what this is? This is a classic. It seems to me this is classic preparation for Benavides, because he did the same thing in 2017 before fighting Golovkin. He fought Chavez Jr. That was a big, heavy dude, and it was preparation to handle the size and packing the pounds on. And it's the same thing here with Munguia. I think they want to see, okay, I know I can beat a short, stout guy like John Ryder, because Canelo has better skills than him. So then he fought a mobile guy in Charlo who has very good stamina, but that doesn't prepare you for Benavides. Munguia, even though he doesn't fight like Benavides exactly, but he's a similar, except especially more similar to Benavides than a Charlo or Ryder. So I think this is preparation for that Benavides fight.
Well, I agree, BDA. I do, because I called in and you said you think it'd be an asshole move if Canelo does this. But I do think he's doing this shit. He's Reynoso made that fight with Benavides' camp with his guy Gozik at 175. I think they're building a business relationship. And Canelo says, "Okay, you're gonna fight this guy at 175, and then we're gonna see if you can come back down to 168, and let's see if you really want to fight Canelo and see if you really can do it." And blah blah blah. you're gonna squeeze him, bro. You know what I mean? This dude's a weight
Yeah.
bully, and they're gonna let him know we know who you are, and they're gonna squeeze his ass dry. So that's what I see kind of happening, bro.
It's an interesting scenario, that's for sure.
So nobody gives Munguia a chance. Like nobody.
I mean,
gives him a
maybe
chance,
maybe I'm being too like overzealous and shit. He's a good fighter, bro. I just feel like the mistakes he makes are too obvious, and against someone like a counterpuncher like Canelo, it's gonna be very he's gonna be able to take advantage of every mistake he makes, I think. And you know what I'm saying? He makes a lot of mistakes, bro.
I agree with Sobers, and you know what's interesting though is Jimmy over at our show. He believes that Munguia is actually a harder fight, more difficult fight for Canelo than Benavidez, and the reason why he says that is it's because not necessarily because Benavidez is less skilled than Munguia, but it's because of the styles and the range at which they fight. Munguia, Jimmy says, can actually score knockouts mid-range. Whereas Benavidez, if you think about it, and it's true, his long-range weaponry consists of a jab, which is, again, it's very scarcely does he throw a jab. He's got that straight right that he throws like a pot shot, but that's not, it's not enough to outbox somebody. It's really just to keep him occupied and then work his way on the inside. And it's true, so, and as like, notice all his fights, he actually has to get close to his opponent, whereas Munguia can actually throw proper hooks mid-range. He doesn't really have to get close to do it. So I guess Canelo, Benavidez is going to have to get close. And Canelo, like we've said before, he really likes the guys that come to him. Again, that's Jimmy. So when Jimmy speaks, you have to listen to what he says. The only thing is that for me, Munguia is way too hittable. And when you don't give him a target, he sort of freezes. He has to see a target before he throws. He's not one of those dudes that can create an opening by letting his hands go or feinting and so on. Or very rarely does he do that. And Canelo, I mean, he's got excellent defense, like Sober says, very good counterpunch. And so, I could see him perhaps trying to hurt Canelo. I mean, maybe he could hurt him and stop him. I don't know. Canelo, has some wear and tear. But, man, I'm just seeing Chavez Jr. vibes again here.
And he's smaller than Chavez Jr. too.
Yeah, but he's still a pretty big dude, though. Fuck, I mean, this dude, everything's big. His calves, his back,
No, he looks big. He's huge, and especially at 168, he looks huge as fuck.
Yeah.
And he has good punching power. He has good power.
I like Munguia, man. I think he's a hell of a fighter.
I like him too.
You in a tunnel? You're really choppy right now. Okay, we got is this the real Gonzalo? He's going against Canelo Gonzalo has turned heel. Let him know, Gonzalo. He's not a Canelo fan anymore, I don't think. So, but do you like this fight? I mean, I haven't anybody said they like the fight. Is this a great fight? Is it gonna do really well? I mean, I know we're saying Munguia don't have a chance, but I like the fight. I'm happy for it. I know it's brown on brown crime, but you guys gonna buy it? You guys want to see it?
Yeah, and especially if they put on a good undercard, Canelo's gonna deliver. The last two guys he fought went on the defensive, and I could see Munguia maybe do that because Chavez did, and maybe Munguia says, "Fuck yeah!" I can see that. I can see Munguia trying to really press Canelo, wear the older man down, but then he just runs into these big shots and he says, "Fuck!" You're gonna see him hesitate. He was hesitating a little bit against John Ryder. David Yachenko was just teeing off on this dude, so I can see Canelo doing that to him.
Yeah. The thing with I don't know if my internet's coming in through clearly because
it is.
I don't have my regular internet. Yeah, Munguia likes a war, but that can go two ways. When he goes into a war, he's very hittable. So if Canelo really wants to tag and piece up Munguia, he's got to fight like he fought against Triple G2. Because if he doesn't, you don't engage Munguia in that type of war, maybe you're not going to catch Munguia the way he usually gets caught when he goes into these wars. Now, Munguia can also make the mistake that he incessantly presses Canelo and tries to force him into a war. Then, yeah, he's obviously going to run into shots doing that. If I were Munguia, I would box more. And because he got the legs. If you look at how Munguia, and I'm not making the comparison because obviously World Kid Saddam Ali was a smaller fighter back when he beat Miguel Cotto. Then when Munguia fought World Kid, he was bigger than that guy. But the way he was displacing himself and moving around the ring with the legs, you could tell that he's very mobile when he wants to. He can come in and out. So Munguia can utilize his legs. And if I were Munguia, I would just go in there and drop body shots, uppercuts, and back up, and not stay and be a sitting duck for Canelo's counters. Make Canelo reach.
Yeah, that would make sense. But I mean, it's asking things of the underdog that he's never done before, or maybe he's done in spots, but could he pull it off realistically against a guy like Canelo? And that's, I don't know, man. But Gonzalo,
yeah, the thing, BDA, he's never fought a A-level, A+ fighter. But every time Munguia fights maybe a B or C level, he always rises to the occasion. I know that sounds cliche, even when he fights a B+. So we haven't seen if he can do the same when he fights that top level. And I don't know if Canelo's that at this point, but he's certainly an A-.
Yeah, I think this is a fight that's gonna make Canelo look good again, because most of the time, like I said before, Ryder and Charlo, they went on the defensive, so it was hard to look good against them. But this time he's gonna have a guy that's gonna come at him, and I think after this fight, if he pieces up Munguia the way most people are expecting, it's gonna really create now a big demand for the Benavidez fight, because a lot of the people that hate Canelo right now, they're looking at every little thing, dissecting everything, and they looked at how he was unable to stop Charlo, and they go, oh, he's on the decline. Well, if he's on the decline, we're gonna see it against Munguia. But if Canelo pieces him up, the hype for the Benavidez fight, it's gonna get back to where it should have been, and that's gonna sell Boku pay-per-views.
I think it's too late for that fight, BDA. I think
Which
Benavidez, I think he's going to fight at 175 and he's going to be like, oh shit, I feel way better at this weight. And he's not going to go back down. And no, Canelo might put a rehydration clause on him, and Benavidez might just think, fuck that.
Yeah, you'll do it for enough money, bro. You'll do it for enough money.
Yeah, you're right, man. Because I mean, they people. The big thing with the whole Canelo Benavidez saga is, well, Benavidez has been his mandatory for 2 years, which he hasn't. He's never asked to enforce it. Then as soon as they start talking about, hey, Canelo is really gonna stick with the PBC, all of a sudden the Benavidez starts talking about 175. It's like, what the fuck? So Rick Glacier says, in his opinion, neither of those guys really wants the fight, and I can see that. I could see Canelo maybe saying, fuck it, I still want to get 2 more fights, extract more money before I retire and take on Benavidez, and also Benavidez maybe not really wanting it now. Maybe they want to age Canelo out. But again, this move to 175. If he goes up to 175, what are the chances he goes back down to 168? Very slim, right?
Very slim.
Yeah. Has to be for a big check.
I mean, he could do it since he's chasing Canelo, and since he's still a mandatory down at 68. But that would be like an odd look. It's almost like you're getting greedy, and that's been the problem with the Benavidez. They say they don't want the money, but obviously, you move up to 75. Who does that? Who's it? Can you remember somebody in recent history that's done that? Aside from the fact that maybe you're a small guy, you went up and you tested yourself, but you didn't win, and then you went back down. But that's a different reason.
Yeah, I don't know. I can remember, man. I can recall a guy, maybe Paul Williams in the 2000s, when there was a lot of talent at 147, but he couldn't get those fights, so he moved up to 154 and then 160. But you're right, he didn't move back down to 147. So yeah, you're right, man.
Yeah, some guys will do it when they go up and they can't make it because they're small. Like maybe Ray Vargas, the guy that just fought, maybe he'll be like, okay, well, it didn't work out for me in this weight. I'll go back down because I can certainly make my usual weight. But Benavidez is not that guy.
Yeah, I mean Benavidez too. But the big problem with the Benavidez is there's a disconnect between him, his father, Samson Lukowitz and Al Heyman. It's like playing Arab telephone or whatever that name is of that game where one guy says one thing and then the message gets lost after 4 people say it, and it's the same thing there. So who knows why that fight, what they really want. But also it doesn't help that the PBC, which is a sinking ship, is involved in all of this. And whenever you get involved with the PBC, it's just, it's pandemonium.
Something crazy is bound to happen. But BD, I wanted to piggyback on something you said. Yeah, Canelo needs to look spectacular because of what you said. There's a case in point I remember. Oscar De La Hoya had faced Ricardo Mayorga, and then he, is this is Canelo, is Munguia Canelo's somebody's echoing Ricardo Mayorga. Sorry, I'm drinking some beers.
That's an excellent point. That's an excellent point. Yeah, after because remember, De La Hoya hadn't fought after he moved up to fight Bernard Hopkins. He didn't need that fight, by the way, but it was just, and again, it was a big money fight. If he won, he could win the legitimate middleweight championship. So he said, "Fuck it, I'll do it." He lost. Then he took off all of 2005. Comes back against Mayorga, beats him up. Mayweather was in the audience, and they're like, "All right, fight's done now. We can sell this because De La Hoya looks."
Yeah, he looked spectacular against the guy. Like everybody knew, but it was exciting to see. Like that was the right opponent at the right time. People were saying you're slipping. Go ahead, Sobes.
Well, check it out, Frank. Well, just think how everyone was talking about Anthony Joshua 3 weeks ago, bro. And think about how they're talking about him now after that knockout in Ngannou. He's never looked this good since. He hasn't looked that good, bro, since Andy Ruiz, bro. Hey, he hasn't looked that good since Andy Ruiz ass whooping, bro.
It's amazing what one fight could do to a career, right? It's all of a sudden now, like, oh my god.
Now he's the most electrifying man in the heavyweight division again.
Right.
And dude, Tyson Fury, after that one fight with Ngannou, he looks like shit, and everyone hates him now.
Exactly.
And I give you an example of that too. An example: Ricky Hatton. He loses to Floyd Mayweather. Then he comes back in, I believe it was 2008, and he fights Juan Lascano in England. And he went 12 rounds with Lascano. He won handedly, but there was a point where he got hurt real bad by a left hook. And then the referee called timeout because somebody had a detached shoelace or something. It was a bad look. People were immediately, you know how the media is. They're like, oh, is Ricky Hatton done, blah, blah, blah. He hooks up with Floyd Mayweather Sr., who at the time had some clout. Right. And he beats off Paulie Malignaggi, who subsequently would end up getting his ass beat by a bunch of other guys. So it wasn't that impressive. Back then, Cotto hadn't been able to stop Malignaggi. He was the only guy to hand Malignaggi a loss, and he couldn't stop him. So when Hatton did it, which was kind of a BS stoppage, by the way, Buddy McGirt, threw the towel in, and he wasn't really that bad a beating. Immediately, holy shit, Hatton is a new fighter under Mayweather Sr. Meanwhile, he was fighting the same way. But boxing writers, they want to paint a narrative, and so it's exactly what Sobers is talking about here. If Canelo looks good against Munguia, boxing fans only remember the last performance. So if he just dismantles Munguia in under 6 rounds, man, that like I said, that De Benavides fight, hype.
I just thought about another reason why Munguia, if he can handle the hooks and not get caught like with like two-piecer, because he can take the first shot, but that when his head is just like dangling all over the place. If he can somehow manage that, but this is the thing. Yeah, Munguia might get caught by hooks, but he's a great body puncher. Like, he's just a natural body puncher, and when he throws them to the body, like, he throws them quick to the both sides. And I've noticed that Canelo doesn't really necessarily like body punching because he's a guy that has to deal with controlling his breathing, and that's how he's been able to improve his stamina over the years. He doesn't necessarily have great stamina, but he's been able to adapt. And when he puts the earmuffs on, like when he shows up to the top, that midsection is vulnerable. And I think when he fought Triple G, both guys hesitated to throw to the body because they didn't necessarily want to be open upstairs for a big shot. And the same thing, vice versa. They didn't want to expose have their bodies to like they were open targets at all times. So sometimes they just hesitated to throw. They were always guarding their body. And the way Canelo got hit by Caleb Plant and maybe another time that I can recall, yeah, he don't like it, especially because he's pliable. That's where he's got the waist movement. He can't really tighten up that core too much because he loses the ability to flex the waist. So that's where he's got a sign of like if this were a video game to like where you want to shoot and hurt him, to bring his power bar down. And the thing, like Munguia got the 2 shots to the body, but then he also got a good uppercut. So he can throw a variation of the uppercut with the 2 shots to the body and make Canelo shell up to the top, then slip the body shots to the belly. And but then Munguia's also got to deal with the fact that he's open for the hooks. So that might be interesting on the inside.
Yeah, that's the thing though, because Munguia, like I've said before, if he doesn't see a target, he sort of freezes. It happened against Hogan. Then again, Canelo's not going to move as much as Hogan, but the point still remains. If he can't find a target, he doesn't really know what to do. It happened too when he was boxing this bald dude. Remember that? He was fighting some bald guy, and he was really hesitating. He was getting outboxed, looking bad, and then all of a sudden, boom, he pulls it off with a big shot, and the follow-up barrage stops the guy. But, there's just too many fights where you look at Munguia and you go, he's hittable. Again, he doesn't really find an opening. And so, Gonzalo's right, but Munguia really should have gone to the body more against Davidiachenko, and he couldn't. 37-year-old Davidiachenko, and Davidiachenko was teeing off on him. So I don't know.
But as you say that, as you guys say those things, what comes to my mind is that he's had several trainers. Though, wasn't his dad his first trainer? He was ultra aggressive, and I guess Eric Morales came in, and it's like trying to break a horse, right? They're trying to harness it like. You can't just go do that at the higher levels. So maybe that hesitation is a result of like, hey, let me box more.
I think so. No, I think you're right. I think they're trying to refine him when he should be more, like Gonzalo said, he should be more of a banger. Just don't wait for the perfect shot. Just hit whatever you can find. Elbows, arms, test Canelo, because we don't know how much Canelo has left. He could be on the downside, like people are saying. Maybe he's having to wear knee braces and shit. So evidently something's going on with him. And again, he's been fighting since he was a professional.
He doesn't run anymore, right?
Well, there you go.
Was that him?
So I don't know. Can somebody confirm that?
That's the word on the street that Canelo's on the decline. That's what they're saying. He doesn't want to fight Benavidez because he knows he's at the tail end of his career, and he doesn't want a tough character like that. Which to me, you got to throw it out the window if you take on a tough guy like Munguia. Like what you're saying, Munguia is gonna bring it. He's not fighting a back foot bitch. Like this is, this is gonna be different.
Exactly.
Right?
But is it possible he back foot bitches it? Like I said, when he, if he tastes some of Canelo's punching power, is he gonna pull a Chavez Jr. and just start moving around the ring and just go on the defensive, or is he really? Is he gonna die on the on the hill?
I think he dies on the hill. I think Munguia is a fighter. It depends. Is he gonna look at Canelo as his idol, as like this legend, or is he gonna say, "Hey, he's just another guy, and I'm going there to beat him"?
Yeah. No, he's going in there to beat him. He wanna
jump in anytime, homie.
Like he wanna take that mantle. He wanna take that mantle as a Mexican, because Canelo. He said he wasn't going to fight a Mexican, but that was because whatever happened with Charlo, okay, that was an emergency type of situation to where, okay, just to rescue the pay-per-view, since they didn't want to fight Benavidez, okay, who they got left? Munguia. And this will sell. This will probably be the biggest selling Mexican fight in boxing history. Because a lot of times back when Barrera and Morales were fighting, they didn't get maybe the credit that they deserved, and they didn't fight for necessarily like for a lot of money either. The people slept on those fights until later they realized that they were great fights. So it's kind of like, damn, I think they feel bitter about that too. Morales, the way he acts a lot of the times, is like, man, and he always tells Barrera, we should have been getting what these guys get nowadays because we deserved it. But now they're just gonna make big money. And so, and Munguia just wants to take that. He wants to take that from Canelo.
At the end of the day, it's just a sport.
Who's that? It's somebody's mumbling. A lot of background noise. Yeah, look, I think like I'm using my spidey senses. I think it's gonna be tentative. I think there's gonna be a first fill out because I think it's gonna be a war. They're gonna slug, man. Like Munguia, I think is coming to take the crown. I don't think he takes a step back. I mean, unless he gets the deer in the headlights. But do you think he gets the deer in the headlights?
You know what?
Well,
Though?
yeah.
He might not because so far he's managed to have tough fights where he's losing, and then all of a sudden he pulls it out with one shot and then a follow up barrage. So he might always have that puncher's confidence, like, hey, I might be losing, I might be getting beat up, but if I land that one shot on Canelo, I can probably finish him. But we've seen what happens with guys that continue barging in against Canelo, like James Kirkland and Alfredo Angulo and Liam. What's his name? Liam Smith. They end up getting picked apart and stopped. The only one that didn't was Golovkin, and that was because that's fucking Golovkin. But other than that, to me, Munguia is very good. He's got size, he's got power, tenacity, but I don't know if he's got the defense to keep coming forward and not getting stopped.
Let me say this though. I mean, because as we're talking, I'm starting to see that Munguia has way more chances than we're giving them. Because I mean, I thought Triple G at 40 years old had his moments with Canelo. I mean, was that Canelo slipping, not taking it serious? I mean, we got to really consider that because Triple G was done by it.
Well, it's because
Triple G had only one round in the last fight, bro.
Well, it's because Canelo. I mean, sorry, because Golovkin has a combination of probably an unbreakable chin and is a sledgehammer punch. So he's like a wall that's closing in on you. Even if you beat him by 5 punches to 10, okay, why? Just beat him by 2 or 3 and edge out the round, put it in the books because you're going the distance. So if you throw more than you're supposed to, you might end up getting winded by the 4th round, and that's what GGG was banking on. But Golovkin had his moments because it was always going to be a seesaw battle. Because if you do more than you're supposed to, once again, the latter rounds are going to pay for that. Because obviously you try harder, but then you're still winning the rounds, but then you're still trying harder. You're still going to end up more tired. So that's why Golovkin was still able to stay with him even at 40. Because a combination of the chin and power.
What were you saying, so? Yeah, but Golovkin, I mean, like Canelo beat on him like a drum for the first 6 rounds, and then I noticed like he got winded, and then Golovkin, was very competitive in the last 4 rounds. Like Golovkin did nothing the first 6 rounds. It was a pretty bad fight, and then it started heating up, and then he started piecing up Canelo. I mean, watch the fight again. I thought the last 4 rounds were highly competitive. So if Golovkin at 40 years old can do that.
Yeah, and that's why Canelo looked average too, because GGG dialed him down to his pace. Like I said, you don't want to overly do too much because you're not going to knock him out anyways. So GGG, okay, I'm going to stay with you. I'm going to throw 10, 12 shots. So that means you got to throw 13. But if you get crazy, you're going to pay for it later. So GGG dialed them down to the pace where he wanted to have him to maybe make him pay later. But Canelo had to be wary of that and cognizant of that fact. So he had to kind of control Triple G too, but just barely edge him out because GGG had a game plan, right? I got to put these dogs out of the corral. They're crying.
No, let's go ahead, handle it. But I mean, I think it makes more. I think Canelo's last performances, like say what you want about Charlo, like he should have got him out of there. I mean, am I reading too much into it, or am I just trying to make a case for Munguia? You guys can trash me. Welcome, round.
I think you're hating on Canelo, bro.
I get what you're saying. I mean, I can see. I'm always trying to give the underdog a chance too, because it's not when there's a fight, it's a fight. It's not 100% on one guy's chances of winning the fight and the other guy's got 0. I mean, Munguia is a big dude, powerful puncher. He's got tenacity. He's got motivation in this fight to take the mantle away from Canelo as the best Mexican fighter out there. So there's motivation for him. But I just, there's just too many holes in his game. He could pull it off again, like with a one shot or whatever. But he went to war against Gabriel Rosado, and Canelo's way stronger than Rosado, better, more accurate puncher, just a better all-around fighter, and he likes it when guys come to him. So I don't know, man.
I understand. My only thing is, you know, he should have got Charlo out of there. And Munguia, we're talking about a younger, stronger guy coming to fight. Now, it seems like BDA is saying is because Munguia is coming to fight, that's what's going to get his ass knocked out. Right? That's what I think. I don't know. I'm trying to give Munguia a chance here. I think he has a hell of a chance, man. I like this fight. You know, and what makes it interesting is that Canelo has been slipping. You know, we've seen a lot of slippage on Canelo Alvarez. That's what a lot of people are saying. So, you know, how do you guys think this fight does, pay-per-view wise? Well, like, comment, subscribe. I'm dropping the link. Hop on for everybody who wants to hop on. Quentin Lassiter. Golovkin was unified middleweight champion, literally coming off. He wasn't done. He was 40 years old, though. I mean, he was 40 years old. Trainer and sparring partners saw Canelo and Golovkin spar all those years ago, said it was 50-50 with them trading hard leather. It was always going to be close between them. Yeah, but he was 40 years old. Again, what I'm trying to do is say that Munguia is young. He's strong. He comes to fight. He could give Canelo hell. It just seems like nobody's giving him a chance. That Munguia is going to come in there and get basically knocked the fuck out. What about Gallo versus Ban? Is that something you guys want to break down? I've heard about it. I think it is confirmed. Not sure, but you got a young guy that is trying to be a star and go pound for pound. A lot of people don't even have pound for pound yet, but I don't know why. They have Earl Spence as pound for pound, but not Dan Rodriguez. Whoever stopped Charlo. Well, yeah, but this is Canelo Alvarez. He's supposed to be, you know, top 3 pound for pound. We've kind of seen slippage. I'm keeping it 100%. We've seen slippage, and that's why this is a good fight. You know, you gotta give every angle. You gotta show every angle. It doesn't mean hate or Canelo nut hugging, as we get accused of over here. But you know, I'm just breaking it down, man. I'm giving every viewpoint. I like to throw everything out there and then let you guys decide. I guess BDA is using the latrine, as he says, or restocking on brewskis. Stobers is handling his kiddos.
What's up?
Nah, man, I'm just dissing Canelo Alvarez right now, man. I'm just saying.
I hear you, bro. I don't like it.
I know, man. It's Mexican. But this is the fight, right? It's Mexican. It's brown on brown crime. We're all gonna.
Are you white Mexican or you a brown Mexican?
Like I said, my skin is white and my dick is dark.
The fuck?
Pause. It is. I swear. I don't know. It's weird. I'm like, damn.
Bro, you swear on it.
I'm hella pale though. I'm like pale. You know what I'm saying? I'm not cinnamon pale.
You should be really for Canelo.
Then I need to side with Canelo. I like Munguia, man. I always have. Look, man, I'm hyping both guys. Like I said, like, why am I supposed to pick one or the other? You know?
That's gonna be a good fight.
It's gonna be a banger because I mean, look, man, we can't act like we haven't seen Canelo slippage. I mean, the Crips and the Cucks, they I know they say it, but like we can't live in denial here, you know. That's why it would be amazing.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Huh? You don't know what I'm talking about?
Frank.
Well, I'm here to tell you, Sobers. That's, you know, I'm here to tell you.
No, go ahead.
Nah, but I mean, look, I'm just addressing what they are saying. You know, what the fools are saying. But I have to be honest. Like the last couple fights were not exciting fights. They just weren't. I mean, there were.
You know what's interesting?
Go ahead.
You mentioned that the people that go against Canelo. I found one on, because again, I'm on Twitter now a lot, not posting, but just reading stories and people going back and forth. This dude, Hispanic looking, about 21, maybe 22, and he's saying Canelo ain't never fought nobody. You know, that's the same shit. Canelo never fought nobody. He's been avoiding everybody. That, you know, they just throw out these blanket statements. Yeah, I check it. I say, okay, I check out his Twitter page. The first two posts, it's like these football players, doing the combine training thing. And I'm thinking, okay, so that's the first thing on his timeline. It's not boxing, and it's a bunch of guys, football players. Then I scroll down two more posts, and he's talking about, oh man, some rapper, I don't know who it is, a young Barbie, and it's this guy with Rasta Tourette's and skinny jeans, very skinny guy. He's got those, what do you call those things? That the teeth, the caps. He's got the teeth, the grills. Yeah, he's got those. And I'm thinking, okay, there you go. So I thought maybe it was like a young Mexican, because young Mexicans, they tend to be brainwashed too by the global homo culture. But I said, nah, this guy must be what Repet always used to talk about, the Guatemalans. I guess, because I can't imagine somebody just repeating the same shit. It's like, man, Canelo's avoided everybody. He stalked everybody. Andre Ward was saying that recently, and people were cooking him. But in regards to Canelo fading away, I've said it before, and I've had this discussion with Gonzalo. This whole sledgehammer approach, I don't like it, man. But he seems to be content with it, because Gonzalo made a good point. When guys back foot bitch it and throw one punch at a time and clinch and run around the ring, with the ass style, the media says, oh my God, that's the epitome of boxing. But when Canelo does it going forward, all of a sudden people say he's declining, blah, blah, blah. So there is a double standard there that Gonzalo's pointing out.
They're saying Canelo fights in the ass style because he's
no,
but
but yeah, they're riding him for no longer stringing combinations together and just going one punch at a time, and they're saying, oh, you see, he's declining. But when a fighter fights off the back foot, like Mayweather later in his career, he back foot bitched, he fought in the ass style. You look at what he did against Robert Guerrero, one punch at a time clinch, one punch at a time clinch.
Yeah,
same thing against Maidana, same thing against Pacquiao. There were only a handful of real boxing fans that were saying, hey man, like why is he fighting that way, conserving energy and all that, fighting like an old Hopkins? But when Canelo does it coming forward, but the majority of people didn't say that. The majority of people say, oh man, look at those skills, look at that skills level. Right. And then when Canelo does it going forward, because that's what essentially what Canelo is doing, he's going forward, throwing one shot at a time, and he's winning that way. I mean, he barely lost any rounds against Charlo, but instead of saying, oh man, that was a good performance from Canelo, it's declining, he couldn't stop a guy in Charlo, he's getting old.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, no, I noticed that. But you're saying that it's just a style.
Well, Gonzalo's the one that. Yeah, Gonzalo's the one that pointed it out to me, and I said, you know what, you're right, man. It's a double standard.
Well, like Quentin said, he's fighting bigger guys, so he's not going to go in there and slug. Like, he's not going to throw 1,000 punches. He's not going to be making moves like Dan Rodriguez. What other Mexicans are there that fight like that? I mean, he's very slick, right? Like, what was the whole thing with him and GG? Was Mexican style versus Mexican style, and then when he switched it up, what did GG say? Oh, you didn't fight Mexican style, so he fought Mexican style. Like, look, man, he's next level. I don't know what more people have to see, but all you have to do is watch him. And he doesn't fight like a prototypical Mexican. He does everything that a great fighter does: pivots, counters, slips. And he's doing it against bigger guys. Like I watched the Bebo fight, and he did good. I thought he did good. I thought he was just too small. Is that me being a Canelo fanboy, or did you see the same thing?
Which fight again? Which one did you say?
Canelo versus Dimitri Bivol. I was watching a little bit of it last night.
Yeah, people like to say, it's like, oh man, Bivol spanked him. Bivol spanked him. I mean, to me, it's like he didn't get beat. I mean, to me, spanking, beating, whatever. That's Fury Wilder. That's Inoue Fulton. What other fight? You know what? Those. I mean, Crawford Spence. Well, what happened between Canelo and Bivol? It was just he lost the decision. He couldn't catch up to Bivol. That's it.
Yeah, I seen it, but what I seen was Canelo it was just too much. It was like he looked kind of flabby, and Bivol was just that much of a bigger guy to higher weight class. But as far as the boxing, the skills, like you say, he didn't get beat up. Like he was. It's hard to say. Was he competitive? I think he was competitive. Like the guy wasn't. He didn't get his ass kicked. Like, just keeping it simple, right? He didn't get his
exactly. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
But when you watch him against, like, John Ryder's a pretty muscular big dude, right? Like, he's not a small 168er. I mean, I think he came up for 168, but he wasn't a pushover. And Canelo's just beating his ass, piecing him up all in like a shoebox. I mean, it was a small ass ring, but the guy I'm telling you, Canelo Alvarez is a great fighter. He does everything right. The people that they love. I'm gonna switch gears a little bit. You guys. I want to talk about the Canelo to the PBC new deal because that's getting a lot of traction. You know what I mean? Like, I guess he went over to the Zone. Now he's back with PBC, but now it's a one fight deal. A lot of people are saying he's ducking Benavidez because of that. That was something I was going to unpack. What do you guys think? You think he's actively ducking Benavidez?
I don't think so, man.
I'm talking about the deal because it seems like he won the deal to me. Like on social media, BDA's on Twitter. I don't know if you guys are watching, but all the Crips and the Cuts, they're saying he bent the knee to Al Heyman. Al Heyman, nobody wanted Canelo. The narrative is that nobody wants Canelo anymore. Eddie Hearn dissed his trainer, didn't want to give him Berlanga, and so now he had to run back to Al Heyman.
From what I heard, he's getting paid. From what I heard, he's getting paid more than $35 million. So he might have played everybody and got more checks than he was originally projected to make. So that'd be a win for Canelo.
That's what I think. But you know how people spin the narrative is they're saying that Eddie Hearn didn't want him. I guess he went over there to try to get. So here's how it looks. It looks like he wanted Charlo. He left PBC because they wouldn't give him Charlo. He wanted a cherry pick. Then he went to the Zone, tried to cherry pick Berlanga. They weren't going to give him that. So basically he was forced to go back to PBC and bend the knee to Al Heyman and forced to face Munguia. That's the narrative.
It's not even Al Heyman's guy, so that doesn't make sense, bro. That's stupid, bro. He's getting more money than he would have got for fighting Jamal. And they wanted to fight more.
You're breaking up a little bit. I did not catch the last part.
I should have fucked up, bro.
It's okay, man. But that's the narrative that people are throwing. It's like what I see, man. It's like people are they're throwing shit against the wall to see what sticks. Like, oh look, man, he went to the Zone because he was afraid of Benavidez. Like that was the first one, right? So then we went about 2 weeks, and when I noticed, BBA, you do your shows, it's like you get irritated with the whole PBC, Canelo, the Zone thing. Right, so and that was like a whole month. It's been about a month of this narrative because, like Rick, everybody got glazed with Rick Glazer saying that, breaking news: Canelo leaves PBC. They don't have money. I never hitched my trailer to that narrative. I always just kind of said Canelo, like he's just doing what he wants. If they promised him something and they didn't deliver, then I mean that's not his fault. But it all surrounds him ducking Benavidez. So now he's back. He's back with the PBC. So to me, it has nothing to do with David Benavidez him ducking Benavidez. I think he won the deal because now instead of a 3-fight deal with who they have to negotiate the third fight, now he's on basically a fight-to-fight basis, getting more money from Munguia than he was originally going to get for Charlo. But somehow, some way, people say that this is Canelo losing.
Listen.
Go ahead.
The whole Glacier thing. He said Canelo's leaving because they couldn't come up with his money, and they couldn't. That's why he left and went to the Zone. Then something happened between him and the Zone. Some people are saying that it's because he wanted Berlanga as a tune-up, and apparently the Zone said no. So now he's back with this with Amazon. It's PBC and the Zone broadcasting the fight,
right?
And it's a 1-fight deal, so it's not. There's no longer the PBC no longer has Canelo for 2 fights the way they had previously. And some people are saying, well, it's because the PBC wanted to control the quality. Whatever you want to say, they couldn't come up with the money. So Rick Glacier was right at the end of the day. And again, people are saying, well, the PBC, it's not, it's doing okay. First of all, Crawford apparently just came out and said they tried to get him to stay on board, and he said no, probably because they already wasted 6 months of his time. And again, how come? Again, Crawford, he's one of the big names they have, but maybe he's not a box office bonanza, but he's one of the big names. They couldn't do anything with him the last 6 months, and people still want to say that the PBC is somehow the best promotion in boxing. Could you imagine Golden Boy or Top Rank or Eddie Hearn having Crawford not doing anything with him for 6 months?
That's a good point.
It's insane. It's insane. But people still want to try to pretend like the PBC is thriving and they're on the top of the game and they're coming. There's a rumor that they're going to have Benavidez and Tank Davis on the same card. Hey, that's great. Right. Finally, they're putting that would, depending on who they match them up with, that could be a good pay-per-view. But again, are they banking on that saving them? Because again, the rumor is they only have 12 dates with Amazon. And they've got about 80 fighters, 90 fighters on the roster. How are they going to get all those guys to fight more than once a year with those limited dates? So, and they had to struggle to come up with the money for the Canelo Benavidez thing. You know, they failed the first time. They got lucky that something happened with him and Canelo, and he had to return to them. And it's a one-fight deal. So, hey, man, it's a PBC, man. Hopefully they get their act together, but I doubt it the way they've been doing business.
I don't know. Like, there is a cult of PBC out there, but I don't know how they have these leaps of logic and come to these conclusions that Canelo went to bend the knee to Al Heyman because Eddie Hearn didn't want him. Like, that sounds insane. They're trying to say nobody wants Canelo Alvarez. Basically, at the end of the day, they're trying to say nobody wants Canelo Alvarez anymore. So Al Heyman is saving him. They formulate these conclusions that have no basis in reality. And that's why I do this, because I like to know what you guys think. You know, it's like, do you think Canelo lost the deal? Is that what really happened? Or these guys just trying to spin something for the PBC cult?
At the end of the day, Al Heyman, no matter what he does, he gets paid. That goes a long way of explaining why he doesn't really deliver what people want to see most of the time. And when he does, it's behind a paywall. So, I mean, look, people, and the other dumb thing is, Frank, is when I hear people say, Tank Davis is a face of boxing because he fights on pay-per-view, as if you have to pass some sort of test or litmus test to make it on pay-per-view. Haney fought on pay-per-view. Haney and Lomachenko fought on pay-per-view, and they did horribly. I think they did 200,000 pay-per-view buys, if that. So anybody can be placed on pay-per-view. Tank Davis has been placed on pay-per-view. The only one that he did remotely successful was against Ryan Garcia. I mean, remotely. I mean, that was successful, but other than that, everyone else, every other event, probably losing money. Barely breaking 200,000.
Andy Ruiz and what's that guy? Luis Ortiz was pay-per-view. Like, that was pay-per-view. So, yeah, the whole pay-per-view argument doesn't hold any water. You know,
but like you said, it's people just stringing together narratives.
So did Tank Davis? Did he duck Conor Benn?
Who? Oh, Tank Davis.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they offered him a lot of money. Eddie Hearn, easy fight to make, no frills, and he said no.
Do you think he's making more or less against Frank Martin, bro?
I would think he's making, I don't know, man. I would think he's making less, but maybe they're promising more pay-per-view upside or whatever, but even though it's not, I don't think it's going to do that well pay-per-view. So.
Yeah, that's insane. You know that he's so loyal. If they were offering him as much money as they said, that he's still loyal to the PDC. It's a cult, man. I don't know. These guys are extremely loyal to him.
Yeah, I think it's Al Heyman's good at he's pretty good probably at talking to these dudes. There's that clip that Jimmy showed us of Al Heyman backstage after the Ortiz Mayweather fight, I think, and he sounds like a used car salesman. He's got that voice like that, you know, like, if I get you this Cadillac, I can get you this Cadillac half price, my brother. And so I'm pretty sure, so he's from Harvard, but he sounds like he comes from, you know, the mean streets of Cleveland or something, a la Don King. Right. So I think that's probably how he talks down to these guys at their level. Because again, a lot of these guys they hear a little jive, some slang, and they think, man, this guy's business savvy, but he's from Harvard, so he must know what he's talking about. And meanwhile, he'll take care of a couple of fighters, but everyone else can go fuck themselves for the most part.
Oh, man. But, you know, the only problem I have, like, look, man, these guys can say whatever they want. The only problem I have is, like, have you guys heard about the new Crawford fight? So it's kind of like you know how we get into these beefs and the narrative we see on social media. That Crawford's fighting Eubanks. Have you guys seen that yet?
Crawford fight. Yeah. We saw.
So now I guess that's gonna be an acceptable fight for them. You know what I mean? I don't know if the PBC guys are gonna turn on Crawford, but I mean, you know, they're saying, you know, they were saying Canelo ducked Crawford, but now he's fighting Eubanks. Is that a good fight for Crawford?
Well, depends. What weight is it? Because there might be a method to that madness.
It's at 160.
Okay, so he's gradually testing himself and moving up, looking to potentially fight Canelo in the future. So that's a good preparation fight. He's fighting a guy that's bigger than him at a higher weight. A stone's throw away from 168.
Is that not ducking Boots Ennis and Tim Tszyu?
No, because boxing is a sport, but it's also a business. And Terrence Crawford's already double undisputed, and he's 37 years old, and he's already said it. He's already expressed himself. I'm not fighting those guys. I could see why he could fight Tim Tszyu, because that would be a big money fight, but not Boots Ennis. That's out of his generation. To me, it's not a duck, because what does he have to prove at 47 now? He's already undisputed, right? I'm not saying it ain't a dangerous fight.
He was undisputed. Yeah.
But he's looking for the big money paydays, thinking about the business of boxing. He's 37. He got nothing to prove. Well, yeah, they had him kind of like how do you say it? Like they held him hostage for a lot of times, so he couldn't really move until Errol Spence moved. So maybe that took a few fights away where he could have been more active. But then again, he had the 2 belts and he was waiting for that undisputed fight where he was looking to make big money. So now he's gonna fight Eubank because he's a popular guy, and it could be between the UK and the United States under, I don't know, Eddie Hearn Promotions. Maybe, I don't know, where's the fight taking place? In England? Yeah, that will make a lot of money. Over here in the United States, probably too. Jesus, but then again, I'm thinking he's just looking to test himself to get ready for Canelo.
Yeah, I think that's what it looks like it's going on. That's why I wouldn't consider him fighting Jaron Ennis a duck. I mean, if he told you, if Crawford said, I want to be the best welterweight, I want to remain the best welterweight, then I could see it happening. But first of all, I mean, how would they make that fight happen on PBC? Again, they don't know what they're doing over there. Everything's, there's no certainty. It's like walking on ice. So, man, he wants that Canelo fight. You never know. Again, if Benavidez decides that he can't make 168 anymore, and his brain trust says, you know what, fuck this, fighting Canelo at 168 when you can barely make weight could go wrong. I mean, think about it. Everyone's always asking, if Canelo dogs Benavidez, his legacy's over. What if Benavidez fights Canelo and loses? I mean, everyone's saying that he's this, he's that, he's that. If he couldn't beat an old Canelo, as they're saying, then that's a bad look for him. So they're probably thinking, you know what? Let's stick to the old game of PR nowadays. Move up to 175 and keep harping on the narrative that Canelo always avoided us. That way they can save face, and they can even use that as marketing. It's like, David Benavidez, the guy Canelo never wanted to face. There's already people out there that believe it. So if that happens, then the only other logical fight for Canelo after Munguia would be a Crawford fight, which I still think perhaps could do more than the Benavidez fight right now.
Right now, as it stands, yeah. I mean, Crawford is more of a name than Benavidez, and it's a different fan base, right? Like it's the African American fan base. He did decent against Errol Spence. Like with Munguia and Canelo, it's from the same fan base, right? So even when Canelo fought the Eurobums, you're taking from a whole other fan base. So yeah, I think Crawford and Canelo is a bigger fight. And I said, man, I want to see Canelo knock his head in the 3rd row. Because I think he obliterates Crawford. I think it's a joke fight, but I want to see it. I always said that. Or do you think Crawford's competitive?
I mean, he could be competitive early on, but I think eventually Canelo would catch him. I mean, if Canelo catches him with the overhand right that Kavaluskas caught him with. But then again, and I'm not saying that the only reason way Canelo wins is by knockout, but I do think he would wear Crawford down. Well, I wouldn't be surprised if Crawford could manage to stun him or something, because Crawford's pretty quick on the counter punch trigger, and he's surprised. The guys never see the punch coming. That's why he manages to hurt them. So, he packs on the pounds, packs on muscle, and retains speed. It could get interesting, but I'd still rather see Canelo Benavidez. But again, Canelo Benavidez now talking about moving up to 175. It's looking likelier that or maybe his brain trust don't really want to fight Canelo, because like I said, maybe now that the fight is getting closer, now that Canelo can work with the PBC and all that, maybe they're starting to rethink. Hey, man, what if Benavidez loses to Canelo? What's next for Benavidez? And by the way, if he loses to Canelo, maybe he might take a beating. It's not like Canelo loses to Mayweather, which is by decision, and Mayweather just tapped him on his way to a decision. So it's one thing to lose by decision, it's another to get beat up. That's why a lot of these guys are afraid of somebody like Beterbiev, or people were afraid of Golovkin, because it's one thing to lose by a decision, but this guy's gonna hurt you in there. This guy, people don't understand how much of a monster Golovkin was, or Beterbiev. The fact that these dudes, high-level guys, top 10 guys, train. They're in very good condition. They train to be able to go 12 rounds. And this guy comes along and stops them within 3, 4, 5 rounds. That's some scary shit, man. And again, these guys feel it. Remember that the way when he dropped, when Golovkin dropped Curtis Stevens? That phase that Curtis Stevens made, like the eyes wide open, like taking in a deep breath. He'd never tasted power like that before. He'd been stopped before, but never hit with the sledgehammer shot that he never saw coming from Golovkin.
And he looked so Triple G always looked effortless. If that, you know what I'm saying? It looked effortless.
Yeah, indefatigably.
He didn't. He wasn't wildly swinging. He was more of a stalker. But yeah, when he was hitting people, they crumbled. And yeah, you know what they say. Well, who did he fight? Who did he beat? But I'm gonna go back to what you said earlier in the show. Is like these guys are top 10 guys. They're legitimate boxers. The Yildirims, the Curtis Stevensons, they're not bums. Like, I know we say bums, but in the scope and in the realm of boxing, they're not bums. Like the guy that Venado Lopez beat, that Abe guy, like he was a top 10 guy. I didn't even know he was top 10. And Venado mollywopped him.
It's like Triple G, he beat Daniel Jacobs when Daniel Jacobs was in his prime, and he blew the IBF rehydration clause, I believe that's what you call it. And then he could easily have been 2-1, 2 wins against 1 loss versus Canelo. If they would have had the other judges or the powers that be would have favored him. But then it is what it is. They got a draw, and the Canelo got the 2 wins. It's the other way around.
And BDA, what you were saying about Triple G, when you look, man, just for anybody, rewatch those Canelo Alvarez fights. They were vicious. Like what you're saying, I mean, they both. I was thinking about the other night. I was watching Danny Garcia versus Mauricio Herrera. You guys remember that fight?
Danny Garcia?
Yeah, Danny Garcia versus Mauricio
Herrera.
On PBS, they've been showing the fights, and I'm like, bro, you know what? Like, it sounds stupid. I'm being Captain Obvious, but these fights, they take a lot out of you. I mean, you're talking about a lifetime, right? Like Raymond Ford, I don't think he's ever going to be the same. That guy took a beating, man. He was that guy.
I was impressed.
Took a lot out of
many people.
Like they both lost a lot of like video game, right? They lost some lives that night.
That was a really, really good fight, man. Really, really good fight. You know what? The Uzbeki dude, he was getting a little wild though. That's why he was getting picked off by clean shots. He was getting real wild with that overhand right. He was just throwing. He was gonna miss that. How can you throw like that? Expecting to catch a dude all the time.
Yeah, but I mean that's the thing though. It's Ford saved it by the skin of his balls, but like you said, he took a lot of punishment in that one, and he already had a tough fight against Vasquez before that, which I still haven't seen. But I mean that's what I heard. That's another fight that could have gone the other way. But you mentioned that fights taking out of people, taking life out of a fighter's career. That's what Usyk's going through right now. Because Usyk he's not a small heavyweight. I mean, he's 6'3", so that's why he's been able to. But compared to these guys like Joshua, even a guy like Ngannou is like 270 pounds. I mean, come on, Dubois, Fury, and you got to remember Usyk has to train to beat these guys up. Like against Chisora, for example, Chisora outweighed him by 36 pounds, and that fight was very rough because Usyk had to keep moving. And I don't know if anyone's ever sparred with a guy who just doesn't give a shit about your power. It takes a lot out of you. Now, of course, Usyk was able to outlast Chisora, and then he got him tired, and then he was able to stand his ground a little bit more and not move too much. But it was still a tough fight. Those 24 rounds he went against AJ. Look at how hard AJ hits. After the Ngannou fight, more and more people are starting to realize now, whoa, this guy has a wilder level power. Meanwhile, fucking Usyk went 24 rounds with that guy, and look at some of the monsters that Usyk is sparring with. That takes a lot out of you, man. So I wouldn't be surprised if whatever happens after the Fury fight, especially if he beats him, if Usyk beats him, I think he retires, man. Because what else is there for him to do? What, fight Jared Anderson? Fight Joseph Parker? I mean, there's not really much else. He's done it all. He beat Joshua, he beat Fury. That's it. Those are the two best guys in the division.
Yeah, no, that's an excellent point because I thought Triple G was going to continue. I thought he was going to take on Munguia, but it looks like he just said, I had enough. Like maybe what you're saying, VDA, his body is just the training, the sparring. Like he was such a tough son of a bitch. Maybe now he feels the shots like, okay, I know the next shot is going to be it. Like I'm not getting up. Maybe not literally, but figuratively. Like, he knows that he can't really take another hard shot.
I don't know, but I think he just got, Steve Kim said that Golovkin, what happened with him is he just got content. He liked the money. He became, he had that Canelo fight, the third Canelo fight, and he just said, you know what? That's it. This is where I stay at. You know what I mean? And I don't know. It's. I always thought Golovkin could have, after when he didn't get the third Canelo fight right away, I think he should have gone up at 168, and he could have taken out Callum Smith. I think he would have beaten Callum Smith, but he decided to stay around 160. Then he was just waiting for that Canelo rubber match. Because again, Golovkin is another dude that, like Usyk, he did it all. The only thing he didn't do in the amateur was win the gold medal, but he came close, silver. And apparently that final, that the fight couldn't have gone his way. He could have been a gold medalist easy. So he was fighting since he was a teenager, then a lengthy professional career. I think he just said, fuck him. And after that second Canelo fight, especially since he felt it should have gone his way as well, the second fight as well, he probably felt like, I just want to have one more crack at this guy, and that's it.
Yeah.
At this point, if he returns, how long has it been? Going on 2 years. His body is too out of shape, and it's not, the timing's gone. He would probably be like one of those guys like Aaron Pryor. He just had I don't think he was ever beat at his first career, but then when he came back, he just got knocked out. I don't know if that would happen to Golovkin, but the timing's not there. He's too rusty.
You know what the problem with a guy like that is, though, is he's got a good jab, but he's always been slow with his hooks. It's always been, like you said, it's the timing. That's how he got, remember when he caught Willie Monroe? Monroe was faster than him, feet-wise and speed, hand speed-wise, but Golovkin was just a superior fighter, skill-wise and timing-wise. But now, if his timing goes away, he might not be able to land that bomb. Remember Jose Luis Castillo? He was a slow fighter too, but he had timing. But then what happened once his timing went off the hill? You remember he fought Sebastian Lujan, the guy that got his ear. That dude just outworked.
They hated each other.
Oh, they hate each other? Well, anyway, but Lujan just outworked Castillo, and Castillo could never land that big shot because he was way too slow. And his game was always pressure, and wear you down, but he couldn't wear down a guy who he couldn't hit. So it's the same thing with Golovkin. He's got similar problems at this stage in his career.
Yeah, and it's not like he's gonna make the same money when he fought Canelo. He'll probably still make a lot of money, but probably not worth it for him. He's got his own stuff going on with his energy drinks, and in other words, he's never gonna run out of money probably.
Yeah, that's what I'm
but
saying. Is he's had a long career and he's comfortable now.
I thought that Munguia fight would have been an easy lick for him. Like, why wouldn't he have took Munguia? But maybe, like you said, but he couldn't train anymore. Like, I thought that's the fight that should have happened. I really wanted to see that 2 years ago. I thought it was close to happening. It would have put Munguia over, as they say in the wrestling terms. Like, this would even have been a bigger fight had he fought Triple G and beat him.
Nah, but yeah, Munguia, they pretty much salvaged his career. Mauricio Suleiman saved him. He's like, hell no. It would have been one of those cases like when Rafael Espinosa, he did win against Robeisio Ramirez. But who are the other guys beating? El Pollo Aguilar and
Azabache.
And El Azabache, yeah. Those guys, they were undefeated, just like Munguia. But as soon as they crossed over and faced a guy over here in the United States that was like the elites of the elites, it's a different ball game. Because then you also have to do a lot of things to get over, like you got to catch a plane, you got to pay your dues, you got to acclimatize, and it's just I know it's just like across the border, but still, it's not like you're going to Japan. But in other words, it's still difficult in a lot of ways. And they lose.
Exactly, yeah, and again, some of these guys, they like Munguia when he came. I know he had a big size advantage over Saddam Ali, but shit, Saddam Ali did beat Miguel Cotto, albeit an old Cotto, but he beat him. And then Munguia just goes in there and blasts him. And he was a big dude, but it's not like he out-muscled him like Tyson Fury against Cunningham. It was pinpoint accuracy too, the way Munguia stopped Saddam Ali, and we've never heard of Saddam Ali since then. So Munguia is, sometimes you get these Mexican fighters, like I said, like Chavez, like Gonzalo was telling Frank, we were talking about Chavez, like how when he came over to the US, he had a glossy undefeated record, but nobody really knew who he was, but he turned out to be the truth. So it's something similar with Mexican boxing right now. There's gonna be this dude that's gonna come from Mexico, might even be a guy has 24-year-old who already has a couple of losses because he started fighting at 15, 16, but by the time he's 22, he's seasoned now, he's hitting his groove, and then he comes over here, he pulls off an upset, and then he just goes on a roll.
No, that's happened a lot. I mean, that's a Manny Pacquiao shit. Yeah, there's guys that come out of the woodworks as opposed to, like what you're saying, a highly touted prospect. So like Emiliano, the Keishans, the Floyd Schofields, Jared Anderson's. It's going to be somebody that people don't see coming, is what you're saying.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, because that's a very good example, by the way. Pacquiao. It's a very good example. He's, Freddie Roach was able to get to him, and he said, holy shit, this dude, incredible hand speed, incredible punching power, balls. He's a guy that whether you hit him or not, he was still going to keep coming forward. And the way he beat up Lelo Leduava, who was considered the best super bantamweight, I mean, that dude, Pacquiao came out of nowhere and obliterated him. And then he did the same thing to Marco Antonio Barrera, who was number 3 in a lot of pound-for-pound list at the time. I mean, think about it. That's like as if somebody comes out of the woodwork right now and beats up Canelo Alvarez for 11 rounds. That's what Pacquiao was.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's a different era. Like even Barrera took a tough loss to, I want to say Junior Jones. So he was, and then he had that fight with Morales, and that made him a star. So yeah, guys with 1 losses, guys with maybe 2 losses can come over here and make noise. But we're just in a different era. But it's like they have to have the 0. People are more focused on that. It's like, can Fandora rebound and become the next guy? That's a joke.
Hey, that's a good question. That's a good one, but you never know. Right?
Yeah, no, but Jesus Ramos could be that guy. He took a loss, but maybe he bounced back and goes on a killing spree.
Did you see that? Speaking of Ramos, he was on. Erickson Lubin was on Twitter, and somebody made a list. I think the WBC list or something, and Ramos was ahead of him. And Lubin's like, "How come the guy I beat is ahead of me?" And then somebody in the comment section goes, "Because you didn't beat him." So I mean, but I mean, Ramos is a dude that, but he doesn't hit as hard as I expected, because the way he looked against Joey Spencer, I said, "Holy smokes, this guy!" But then he couldn't. put out Erickson Lubin, who does have a suspect chin. That's what made me. I don't know. Either Ramos doesn't hit as hard as I thought, or maybe he just became hesitant and didn't really want to let his hands go. I don't know.
I think he does it hard, but he just doesn't throw with a lot of speed. So his punches are heavy, but they're not like impactful. Like bam, like they're not gonna push you back, and like yeah, he'll push you back if you're smaller, but if you're the same size and you can take the wallop. He's got to throw faster. If he throws faster, yeah, he probably hit harder because he's probably heavy-handed. He looks big as fuck, shoulder-wise.
You know what's interesting? You know what's interesting about that, Gonzalo, is Jesus Ramos beat Vala Mendoza, and you know he had some tough rounds against Mendoza early when Mendoza was fast. But then he just wore him down, and he had Mendoza on the defensive back foot pitching it. I actually thought he did as well, if not a little bit better than Tim Tszyu did against Mendoza.
Yeah.
Background.
And also, like, he doesn't throw with a lot of speed because he's naturally not quick. I'm not going to say that he's necessarily slow. I don't know. But he's not quick. But then his father tells him, dial it down, take it easy. You know, take it step by step, in other words. So that even takes away more of the of your willingness to throw quick and fast.
Well, like I said, it seems like he fights
because that's what the dad told him against the St. Lubin. You know, just you're winning. Don't try too hard. In other words, or I don't know how he said it.
That did happen. Shit, maybe it's gonna be Isaac Cruz. He knocks out Rolly Romero. He's a champion. You know, he goes on a killing spree. Maybe that's the guy. But no, yeah, man. Go ahead.
You know what interests me though about, because we're talking about who could come out of, I don't know, where Argentinians, they tend to be on the cusp of that, but in the last 25 years they've lacked consistency. I mean, one dude that did come out of nowhere was Maidana. He was set up to lose against Victor Ortiz, and yet he's the one that knocked his eyes out. Lucas Matisse to a certain extent, Sergio Martinez.
I was just gonna say that, yeah.
But then ever since then. So it's been a good 10 years since we've had a good or solid Argentine. I mean, we've got Antera Martinez, or I forget his nickname. 115. But we don't see any. Yeah, so there's this dude that's gonna be fighting
Gustavo Lemos. Yeah, Gustavo Lemos.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know if he can make it. I think he's a little too much of a wild brawler. But you never know, man. You never know. These Argentinians, man, like, they do the same thing.
They're saying that Matias is that guy because he already has a loss, you know? Like we're talking about guys with 1 or 2 losses that could maybe have this big surge, you know? So they're saying Matias is that guy. But I don't know, man. I see holes, you know? I see weaknesses.
I could see it's you know what it is, Frank? It's like Joe Joyce. Joe Joyce was seen as invincible. He was a dark horse of the division. The way he beat up Dubois and then Parker, but then what happens? He's hittable. So all you need, and I know it sounds simple, but it is simple, but it's not easy. Find somebody that can hit harder than he does, faster, and can actually take his volume of punching away. And that was Zhilei Zhang. So it's going to be something similar with Matias. Somebody that can hang in there with him volume-wise, but just has better hand speed and hits harder than he does. Think like Mosley versus Margarito. Margarito had volume. He did hit relatively hard, but his defense was suspect. And then against Mosley, he had a guy who was faster than him and he hit harder punch for punch, and he got worn down. So I can see Matias suffering from the same thing. The only thing is, who could pull that off? Could it be Teofimo Lopez? Could it be Gary Anton Russell?
It could be any one of those guys because, like, we haven't seen him face a slick guy, a boxer. I mean, when he fought who did he fight? That Argentinian guy? That was a tough fight. I mean, I seen him take some hellacious shots. And the guy just quit. So I was like, I thought he could have lost that fight. Unless I'm seeing something wrong.
He's beatable. He's beatable because he doesn't have a lot of like waist movement. Yeah, he can hit hard as fuck, but if you're just barreling forward and just catching punches and just basically like you're just Like you can take your opponent's punches and then you're landing his, and you're gonna start breaking them down. But then if you have somebody that is not gonna throw it near as the same volume you do, but just hits harder than you, you're not gonna just walk in on him. Even the Ryan Garcia can catch a Matisse with the big left hook, just barreling forward. You can't just keep catching those left hooks because, I mean, he doesn't have great waist movement, and it's just not a healthy thing to do. It's a stupid thing to do in boxing, because in boxing, it's not when you're gonna get hit. You're gonna get hit. If you're just catching them just for free, hey, well, good luck to you. And apparently, that's what he does. He just wears his opponents down.
But that's the thing too, Gonzalo. It's people are going, man. You know, they're remembering like what happens with boxing fans. They remember that last fight, and yeah, he's been on a good run. It's been more than just one fight. I mean, and not for nothing, but the dude murders somebody in the ring. That being said, look at who he's been fighting. He's been fighting a bunch of guys with glossy records who haven't really fought anybody either, like Jukembayev and Ananian, and like that guy from Argentina, and then the last guy who fought Ergashev. These guys, they're not proven, and they're in their 30s too, by the way. They're not exactly young bucks that he's fighting. So there's been a little bit of, he's getting overrated at this point, Matias. Now he could be what they're telling us he is, but I need to see him really beat a top 10 guy before I can come to the conclusion that determination.
Yeah, he's what Benavidez is this time last year. The kind of the
exactly, yeah.
Like, hey, he can beat this the guy, everybody's ducking them. But come on, man, like you said, he hasn't really fought anybody. They've been decent, but we need to fight. Like Richard Hitchinson, let them fight. I mean, Hitchinson could possibly outbox that guy. But I guess Hitchinson was actually offered that fight, and he turned it down under the IDF. He said, "No way, Jose."
No way, Jose. I mean, I'm unsurprised. Yeah, Matias is in it.
Go ahead.
Well, apparently Matias just apparently he turned down a fight against Elvis Rodriguez.
I've seen that too. It was supposed to be Liam Paro, and then because he got a new deal, and then that fell through, and then Elvis Rodriguez, I guess, left, and then he signs, and then that fell through. So they're saying Liam Paro's back on. But yeah, he's in this kind of like what you were saying earlier that I wanted to talk about Benavidez, that maybe he doesn't want it. Maybe Matias, right? You sign a new deal. Do you want to go get beat right away, or do you want to get a couple filler fights, make 300, 400K, and then fight Haney or Tio? Like, what would you do?
Yeah, man, that's a good question, because look, he's number 3 in Ring Magazine's rankings. So he's number 3, Taylor's number 2, Haney's number 1, and then Teofimo Lopez is a champ. So Matias probably sees, hey man, I'm getting close to that one of these guys. Maybe he doesn't really want to risk it, you know, against this type of specific fight. I don't know, but he could be, you know, Sandor Martin, even though he only throws one shot at a time, I think he could probably dance circles around him. I don't know
No, that's a high possibility. I mean, we haven't seen it, right? We haven't seen it. We don't know what this guy can do versus a slick boxer. I mean, nobody can do against a guy straight up and down, like a basic come forward guy. We know what he can do because against was it Urvacek? He was just coming forward. They were slugging, and then he wore that guy down. But we haven't seen him against a Richard Hitchison type.
Yeah, that's the thing, man. Is I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I like watching Matias fight. Don't get me wrong, he's good. I like his style. But when it comes to people saying he beats some people are saying, oh, the only guy who can beat him is Haney. I'm thinking, well, what? I mean, Haney, the guy who couldn't keep Jojo Diaz off of him. I don't know, man. And I don't. And by the way, don't give me that. People are starting to come out with that theory now that oh man, now what's his name? Haney. Now that he's at 140, he's rejuvenated, rehabilitated. He doesn't need to shrink down to 135. He's still rehydrating up to 165, man. Meaning he's killing himself to make 140. Did you see how he looked for the Prograde fight? He put it on his own channel. I don't know why they would do that. He looks like a mummy in there. That can be good for him in the long run.
Well, actually, on social media, I've seen the training videos. Like he's hitting the heavy bag. He's doing like some sparring with Alicia Bumgarner stuff, and he looks like a 168 pounder. He looks bigger than Canelo Alvarez.
Jeez, Luis.
Yeah, it's on Twitter. They're doing his montage training videos, and he looks like a super middleweight. And he's defined. He's not like flabby or fat. There's no muscle.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's no fat on him. He has broad, big shoulders. He looks huge. So,
I'm telling you, man.
He'll be bigger than Matias on fight night if they were to fight. He would be a lot bigger and broader than Matias. I can tell you that.
But that's what gets me about this whole thing, Frank, is when people go, yeah, but I mean, hey, he's making weight. Yeah, but he's making weight because they're weighing him in the morning now, as opposed to in the afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's they're doing this slow boil thing where they change the rules just a tiny little bit, and boxing fans don't do anything about it. They don't say anything about it. But meanwhile, they keep changing the rules more and more. And again, like I said, it's a slow boil, and it's ridiculous that more people aren't talking about it or calling him out.
Boxing fans, the hardcores are going to try to cancel me when I say this, but that's why I don't mind what Canelo's doing to Benavidez. They're the same guy. Haney and Benavidez are the same guy as far as this weight bullying, shrinking down, killing themselves, working with Victor Conte and Benavidez working with Memo Heredia. It's the same thing, guys. I think
you know what? That's a great.
Huh?
That's a great point, man. Because at some point, you can try to be Mr. Goody Two Shoes and follow the rules, but if everyone else isn't following it, I mean, you're gonna look like an idiot. I mean, that's what Repit turned me on to, man. When he was saying, "Well, look, these guys, and it's especially more, Afro-Anglo fighters, they do that shit, like win at any cost, at any means necessary. If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying." And I know people are gonna say about Canelo, yeah, but he got caught with the PEDs. Well, hey, man, listen, when you're changing the rules and all that, it's the same spectrum. Yeah, it's not the same form of cheating, but it's it's the same spectrum. And so when Lomachenko got robbed against Haney, and then they try to, Top Rank tried to throw him in there against Shakur Stevens, he said, you know what, I'm taking a break here because I already know how it's gonna go. Why keep playing their game? They can't beat you if you don't play their game. And so I think you're exactly right, man. If that's the rules that these fans are setting and they're okay with it, all right, then you get these fighters that you like to start fighting the same way and fight dirty.
There it is. Like if a guy's doing that, right, with Haney 36-hour weigh-ins, are you gonna let him do it? Especially if you have clout like Tank Davis or Shakira, you can be like, no, that's a no-go. That's a what do they call a non-starter? That's a non-starter. Go ahead.
No, yeah, you're right. It's like, I mean, come on, man. Repit was right when he said too, when he pointed it out after Canelo beat Golovkin in the rubber match, and they're calling it boring, ho-hum performance, so-so performance. And then when Haney beat, he compares those headlines to Haney beating Kambosos, clinching his way to a decision. Masterclass, masterpiece,
right.
American stars. Like, here we go.
No, yeah, it's the same thing, man. What's the saying? If you didn't have a double standard, you'd have no standard. So that's why I don't mind what Canelo's doing, playing this game with Benavidez. I think that's exactly what he's doing. He's kind of playing this like, yeah, go up and I'm gonna make you come down because I know you're being a weight bully. Now people say if you can make the weight, then that's not weight bullying. But it's like, you have to understand he's a smaller guy moving up. Benavidez started at 175. Devin Haney is a 168er. They're weight bullies. They're working with these guys who are known steroid dealers. So I think it works both ways, man. I think that's what he's doing with Benavidez, and I think that's what Tank Davis was doing with Devin Haney. Because like you said, you see him, and he looks like a super middleweight.
Yeah, that was interesting watching those two guys, because Tank Davis has the rehydration clause and the catch weight. Meanwhile, Haney has the 36-hour weighing thing. So it was two guys competing to see who was going to be allowed to cheat or have an advantage. And it's interesting because that's why it didn't happen, because say what you want about Ryan Garcia being a crazy guy, a lunatic, and maybe even, like a homosexual, but fuck, man, he accepted the deal against Tank Davis. He went for it. You don't see Haney accepting that deal. You don't see Tank Davis accepting it, vice versa. So Yeah, these dudes, you got to start playing or stop playing their game. And the other thing about it is, with Canelo Golovkin, it was an anticipated fight. It wasn't as exciting as I expected it, but fuck, Canelo beat up a guy who would look good against Murata not that long before. And again, nobody really gave him a lot of credit. So, like you said, it's double standards, man.
Well, they also throw out the Canelo's the king of catchweights and things of that nature. And I've seen another person on another show who's okay. He said no. Floyd Mayweather asked for that catchweight, and I think with Sergio Kovalev, it was the with the belt org. I could be wrong, but I know some of the catchweights were put in by the other fighters. They say Canelo did the same thing, but I haven't seen where it was excessive or something like what Sting Davis did to Ryan Garcia. But again, it's the same thing. It's like if their fans will argue, "Oh, that was smart," but if Canelo did it, then you can't do that.
Yeah, no, it's insanity. It's utter insanity. But yeah, Canelo's really pissing them off, and I'm curious to see who's the next guy that's gonna piss them off. Now, but that's interesting though, because I've wanted to talk to Afro Anglos about this. Why are most, at least on Twitter, and again, you got to remember something. Twitter is only about 30% of the American population. It's not like every American is on Twitter. It's sometimes those numbers get overrated just a tiny little bit. But from what I see on Twitter, most Afro Anglos go for Tank Davis as opposed to Devin Haney. It seems like it's the fans that want to be considered more hardcore boxing fans. Those are the type that tend to go for Haney, and why not? Because Haney has taken more risks than Tank Davis. So it makes sense. It's logical that those people, the real boxing fans, the real Afro-Anglo boxing fans, would try to go more for Haney. But then you have these other ones who are going for Tank Davis, and he's the best, he's this, he's that.
Yeah.
But it's interesting how they're divided. See, then when you get rid of a Mexican or a white guy or an Asian guy, and now it's okay, Afro-Anglo versus Afro-Anglo, which you don't see often, by the way. Then it becomes about who's the more like down and dirty. Like for example, Spence versus Crawford. Spence was with PBC, so that really, the more Afro-Anglos went with him because he's the PBC guy, and Al Heyman, he's the master over there. And Crawford's with the PBC, it's a Jew that runs it, and for a lot of Afro-Anglos, that's just a synonym for a white guy. So they went with that, but also because Errol Spence is a Southern Afro-Anglo, and just like with Deontay Wilder, it seems like, I don't know. What you tell me, you live in the United States. Do you think more Afro-Anglos tend to go for the Southern or inner city guy like Tank Davis?
Yeah, of course, because he's down with the culture. Like, look, I said this before, not trying to promote myself, but other videos, maybe you watched, maybe you didn't, but I said, because Haney, the hood chose, right? Like, Haney is known as a preppy. You ever heard that term? Like Mario Lopez, right? And him and Zach Slater, he always said preppy, hey, preppy. Like, he was a private school kid. He wasn't like when Eminem did the 8 Mile, like the whole thing was like, you're not real, you're not about that life. So Devin Haney is the only reason he has the clout that he does is because his dad goes to those channels, and I've heard rumors that he pays him.
Yeah,
and he's bought his son his fandom from that segment of society, because otherwise they'd be Stank Davis fans, because he's really from Baltimore. He's really about that life, and that's what they clamor to. And Haney's seen as the prep school kid, the kind of coddled, you're not real, you grew up in the suburbs. That's Devin Haney.
Yeah, well, we saw Prograis pull that card, right, against Haney. He's like, hey, I'm from the hood, or was it the strength and conditioning guy? I forget, but
that's a good point.
They were playing up that angle, and like I was telling, was it Sobers? I forget who was telling that Mexicans have the same thing. It's like, Mexican Americans. A lot of Mexicans don't consider Mexican Americans Mexican. It's like Eric Morales once said that. You're not real Mexican if you're not. To be real Mexican, you have to eat in Mexico, live in Mexico, breathe in Mexico. He forgot to say shit in Mexico too, but that's besides the point. I mean, what he was trying to say, and we saw Juan Manuel Marquez when he fought Juan Diaz. He said the same thing. He's like, I'm more Mexican than he does. It's like, what does that mean? So that's gonna allow you win the fight? Does that give you extra stamina, a better chin? I don't know, man, but it's something similar in Mexico too.
And Vargas tried to say it to De La Hoya too.
Oh, right.
Well, like they're both
And
Mexican American. What the fuck?
They were arguing about Mexico City versus Tijuana. Like, I guess that was the whole beef. You know?
Yeah, like listen, I was born in Mexico, and that and I have a very tough chin. That doesn't mean anything, man. I just have a tough chin because I'm Mr. BDA, and I pack a wall too, man. One punch at a time, and I just knock motherfuckers out. It is what it is. I'm not bragging. I'm just saying.
Do you hear them coming at you in the comments, BDA? They're coming at your neck, bro.
Yeah, I see the Nicaraguans and the Guatemalans, man. But listen, I mean, at the end of the day, man, it's we got Canelo and Munguia, and those are two Mexicans, so we're not going to be seeing that whole "I'm more Mexican than you" thing. Now it gets down to a if indeed, but I don't think it's going to happen with these two guys. But usually, what happens is now when you get two Mexicans, then it does become like a regional thing, like norteños versus the people from the Chilangos, the Chilangos, the guys, the people from the capital. That's when it starts becoming, like Barrera Morales. That's what it was. Barrera was from El Distrito Federal, and Morales was from Tijuana, and boom.
Yeah, and you know what? And people don't even consider Ryan Garcia Mexican. Like, I haven't heard one Mexican comment about Ryan Garcia.
Because they don't know who. Yeah, they probably don't know who he is. Yeah, they probably don't know who he is.
Well, as far as Mexican Americans, like, since watching all this Ryan Garcia madness, I haven't heard anybody mention his heritage. It's like I don't know, they don't consider him Mexican at all, especially us.
Who?
Ryan Garcia.
Well, when he was fighting Davis, there's a lot of people saying disowning him.
Before or after?
Before.
To disown Ryan before the St. Davis fight?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
I don't know. They want to say he's not Mexican, so. And Ryan acts like he. I don't know what it is. I feel like there's maybe a little bit here where I'm from. I would say there's a little bit of shit where I'm from, dude. Oh shit! All right, go ahead, bro.
Oh no, I just because we were talking about Ryan, I wanted to kind of touch on that. BDA, you think he's joking or is this real? Because I guess he's back on ranting again. He was doing a Instagram stream, and he's saying he's back on his like children abuse are being abused and kind of rant. He said he wasn't going to, and I said, okay, he's trolling. Now I guess he's back on it, and he's talking about time travel now.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, first of all, he said he was gonna keep it boxing.
Yeah.
And then 24 hours later or less than that, he's back to talking about, the Council for Foreign Relations and the roundtable and all that. And then I saw that he was next to some dude, some like, Dominican looking guy.
Handler.
Yeah, well, that's what people. For people that don't know what we're talking about, he was doing a FaceTime live, whatever the fucking thing is called, where he's just essentially streaming on social media and Instagram. Yeah, he's taking quietly reading comments, and then somebody goes, "What are your thoughts on time travel?" And the guy who has the phone, he grabs the phone, he goes, "Oh no, we're not gonna go there. We're gonna end this now." And then Ryan is like, "Why not, man? Why not?" And then the guy goes, "No, we're just gonna. How do we end this? How do we end this?" And then they ended it, and he's like, "What the fuck is going on?" So I don't know what's going on with Ryan Garcia. First of all, let's take a look at two possibilities here. One, everything he really is, whether it's because of the things that he claims are true are going on, or not, or whether he's just fucked up in the head. Let's say he is fucked up in the head. Okay. Then he shouldn't be fighting under that state, because then we're going to see another Oliver McCall in the ring. Now, if he's trolling and just doing this, as they say in the streets nowadays, for clout, what does that say about the guy who was crying about mental health not that long ago? Like he just essentially flushes all of that down the toilet, and gives it a bad look. So that's why I think he really is fucked up. I think he's on drugs. I think he's on a bender. And if it's not, and he's doing this for clout, then he's probably gonna retire after this fight. It seems like he's going all out just to cash in other words. And he doesn't care what happens in the long run with his reputation.
Yeah. Okay. So let me throw this at you, BDA, because I know you're into these things. You have the Second Renaissance channel, which is fire. I know you and Sober's got a channel. Check him out. So this is what I was thinking though.
No, don't check him out.
not Sober's.
No, not
He's not
Sober's.
So here's the thing though. Okay, what tells me it's trolling is that, are you telling me his family doesn't care about him? Because you would think, right? If his family is not in on it and they see him really off the deep end, why are they not pulling the plug? Are they just really? Are they stage moms, soccer moms, right? You know how
They did say something, bro.
Huh?
They did say something. They did say something. His baby mama did and his dad.
I can't hear you, bro. You gotta speak a little bit clearer.
The dad said that he's trolling in the wrong way, and the baby mama said pray for him or whatever, help him out.
See, to me, I think that's all part of. They're all staging it. It's all staged. Because
No, but the dad said he's trolling. The dad said he's trolling in the wrong way.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen Oscar say that he was like, he looks in shape. They show him in training. But my thing is that if it's real, why is his family not? I mean, if he really is insane, he's losing it. Why is his family not pulling the plug? Because to me, that'd be like, damn, his family don't give a fuck about him.
Well, it could be a couple of things. Jimmy says that what's likely occurring here is that Ryan Garcia is the main benefactor for his family. He's the one that probably takes care of everything. Now you got to consider he's got about 2 brothers, 2 sisters, something like that. He's got his parents to take care of. He's got kids of his own, probably other extended family members asking for handouts or whatever. So that can take its stress on people, and that's probably why he took that little hiatus in 2021, because it's almost like, holy shit, now I made it big, now it's on, now I gotta maintain this. That could be a possibility, and that could possibly also explain why his family is not pulling the plug on him, because they're like, hey, there's a lot of money running in on this Haney fight, we got bills to pay. What's that?
It seems like they're tight and they care about him. So you think they really are in that mindset? They got used to the money and they're like, nah, we need this money.
Probably, man. Yeah, it would make sense. I mean, it's what, 10 figure? It's a $10 million. How much would he earn for the Haney fight? Is it known?
Well, they said he got $30 million for Tank Davis, and he's.
I don't believe that though.
Well, that Oscar him confirmed it. I mean, I'm like you. I mean, it could be true, it could be fake, but he's claiming that he's a billionaire. And then the other report, yeah, you seen that? He said he's a billionaire.
I mean, I don't know, man. Let's go with 30 mil. That seems. Let's say 30 mil. So let's say he makes 15 mil here. That's good. That's good enough to take care of everybody from his family. So they're probably thinking, hey, man, okay, he's doing bad now, but it's just one fight. He just has to show up and perform relatively well, and we all get paid. I mean, think about it, Frank. Money makes people do crazy things, and they're maybe they're justifying it in their heads as, well, he's not that bad, or maybe he's gonna shape up come fight night, but it's already when is the fight? It's in
April 20th. 420.
April 20th,
which is another kind of symbolic day, right? Like, it's all adding up to some weirdness. It's getting weird.
But what do you think? Do you think there's something to his allegations?
DBA, I really think it's just promotion. I think he tapped into a segment of society. Like, he's getting so many retweets, so many. He's viral. He's trending. I think he's trolling. I said that before. I think it's a masterful troll job. That was my ultimate conclusion. I mean,
yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, listen. There's two distinction. There's a distinction to be made. One, what he's saying happened to him does take place in the world, but that doesn't mean that it occurred to him, that he suffered from that. And therein lies the what's the word I'm looking for here? The fly in the ointment, the onion in the ointment. It's he claims that this is something real that happens to people, unfortunately, but then he's using it as clout. That is down. That is right. Low, and people can try to justify it like, well, he's calling attention to it. No, but you can call attention to it without lying that it happened to you. Yeah, that's what women do. That women are the ones that say rape, he raped me, and then, well, it's not true, but it's just, I wanted to call attention to it. It's like, okay, so you lied. You made yourself out as a victim. That's a female thing. So, and I can't imagine anybody supporting that from a male doing it. So that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm scratching my head here going, what is he talking? Is he on drugs? Is he really mentally breaking? Or maybe he's on drugs because this really happened to him. But I tell you why I think a lot of people are dubious about him is because when Andrew Tate asked him, what woods did they because he said they took me to the woods and they did stuff to me. And Andrew Tate goes, well, where did they take you? And then you hear a silence, and then he just goes, man, they fucking did this to me, man, and this and that. It's like, okay, why aren't you answering the question? It was very evasive. And in my experience of having delved into this subject matter, you tend to weed out the lies from the people who might be telling the truth. And there is such a thing as providing too many details. Yeah, there's such a thing as providing too many details as well. But what he was saying was just, it makes no sense. I think he's bringing up aliens, and he's saying, I got the proof. But you got what? They let you in on the whole alien pyramid thing? I mean, get the fuck out of here. That's above your pay grade, man. I mean, it's all very dubious.
I agree. My only thing with it is that it just seems like he's trying to get into another segment of society with the do you know what IRL is?
IRL?
Yeah, in real life streaming or
okay.
There's a guy called Sneeko, and who's the other guy? Sobers. He's a little like Arab looking dude.
The Neon.
Yeah, Neon. These are the guys he's hanging with, and these are the things that they do. They do these real crazy stunts. They're always trying to one up each other, and these are the people that he's hanging around with. So I think this is all just like one big production that he's segueing into a whole nother career. Like he might be the next Joe Rogan. I'm really stretching, but that's what I think is happening. And he's like, put it this way, like I thought this fight was going to do 300, 400,000 pay-per-views. Like it was not going to eclipse Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia. That was for boxing fans. But now this, I'm going to buy it. Like, are you guys going to buy it?
Well, first of all, I like how Sobers knows the names of all these Zoomer streamers. Like, I don't know what he does with his time.
17. I'm 17. They're all around my age.
yeah, fucking Sobers is out there catfishing people. Sobers is the type of guy that he catfishes people, and then when they show up at Walmart, he confronts them. Like one of those hunters on there. He's like, what you doing here, bro? What you doing here, bro?
I told you I was 13. What are you doing here, bro?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm a constitutional lawyer. I know. You can't get away.
You're under citizen's arrest. You're under citizen's arrest. Put your hands behind your back.
Yeah. So, yeah, those are the guys he's hanging around with. I don't think it's a coincidence that he was talking to Jake Paul, and then Jake Paul announces his news. Like, I'm really playing hopscotch here, but hopefully you guys follow what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You could be right. You'd be right.
Because here's what I said. Ultimately, at the end of the day, nobody's even talking about Devin Haney. The real question is, will Ryan Garcia make it to the fight? Will he even make it there? Is he even going to make it to the fight? So now the fight becomes irrelevant. It's all about, I'm going to tune in to see if he actually shows up.
That's what a lot of people are wondering. That's going to be, I'm pretty sure people are betting on that.
That people would be a hell of a bet, right?
Yeah.
Like, nobody even cares who he's fighting anymore. I don't think anybody, not once on these streams, has even mentioned Devin Haney's name.
Well, also, a lot of people are saying Haney's going to beat him easy.
Right.
And that my thing is, Ryan Garcia actually has a better style to give him a much tougher fight than Prograis did. But now with this whole thing with his mental state, I don't know, man.
Well, here's the other thing. I think Ryan is beating him at the mental game. Now, I'm probably going to have egg on my face after all this. But Devin Haney did like the stupidest thing you could do. I guess he made a joke. He said, oh, that's right, you got paid as a kid. So then he got attacked on social media like, what the fuck are you doing? You can't, that's not a joke. You can't make fun of him about that. I was like, what an idiot. He really made a joke about a kid getting paid.
on social
Yeah,
media. So I'm
that's
like,
what makes you
Ryan.
wonder.
Go ahead.
No, yeah, keep going, keep going.
No, so that's why I was like, man, maybe Ryan is winning the narrative battle. Did you ever see a show called Succession?
No, I've never seen it. I know about
Okay.
it, but I've never seen an episode. Yeah.
Well, it's all about like newspapers. They're battling for the headlines. Do you ever watch Always Sunny? I'm like,
Not neither. Yeah.
okay. Well, it's all about like the 24-hour news cycle. Like you have to win the narrative. And right now, Ryan is winning that battle.
You think so?
Yeah, like I said, he got Haney into saying that making fun about kids getting pegged, and then everybody started attacking him on social media, right? Because that's like a bad taste joke.
Right.
So
I
it
mean,
looks
I
like-
don't.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, man.
No, I just that was my take on the whole situation. That Ryan is basically made this from a 300,000 pay-per-view fight to probably gonna do better than Davis and Haney.
We shall see. Hey, hey, do you think that how bad of a look would that be for Haney, where he fights this dude that everyone thinks is mentally ill, he's unskilled, not on his level, not on Haney's level, and then he beats him?
I hope so. I'm gambling on it. That's a bet I'll take. It was shocking.
You know who's going to be happy about that? You know who would be happy about
Tank
that? Would be the
Davis.
Tank Davis fans. Yeah, Tank
Oh,
Davis
yeah.
fans would rejoice. They would say, look at that. Tank Davis stopped this dude. Haney couldn't even and Haney couldn't struggle against a guy that was in the inferior version because he was clearly mentally ill.
Well, that's the other kind of side story that people are not really talking about, but that I had mentioned was that like Haney is desperate. He needs this fight to do well because that's going to be his leverage in a Tank Davis fight, right? Because if this pay-per-view flops, then he'll never get a Tank Davis fight, right? Because they're going to say, "Oh, you couldn't even sell against Ryan Garcia."
If the Tank Davis fight ever happens between Haney and Tank, which I don't think it will. I mean, these guys, you gotta fucking reassure them of every single little thing they want in the contract before they even
Right.
think about getting in there. But if they did fight, I mean, like you were saying earlier, Haney's a big dude now. He's a super middleweight essentially. So how long can he make 140 for anymore? I doubt that he can. So if that fight ever happens, it's probably gonna have to be some sort of catch weight, probably 143 or something like that.
No, I think you're right. I don't think that fight ever happens. But at the end, part of the storyline is that this fight has to do well for Haney Garcia. Because when it was first announced, like people were not really excited about it. I mean, I was, but I didn't see social media really going. You know, people thought, "Oh, Haney's gonna kick this guy's ass easily." That was what the sentiments were.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying is that for a lot of boxing hardcore heads, they seem to think that Haney, this is a mismatch for Haney. He's just going to easily school Garcia. And then now on top of all the problems, if anything, I think maybe the Zoomers are going to tune in and pay for it to see what type of shit show it could be. but Garcia does look like he's in shape, but we just don't know if mentally, if he's all there. Again, and again, if he's making all this up, pretending to be a victim of all this, and then it turns out it was just a joke, bro. It was just a prank, bro. That's gonna look really bad. I mean, already people dislike that dude now. Now imagine if he was lying about this. What it does for the victims of the real victims of this what's going on in that type of shady part of the society. Not a good look, man. Let me tell you, not a good look.
And that's an excellent point, but that's what I was saying. These guys, these in real life streamers, like Jake Paul or the Paul brothers did the same thing, right? Didn't they make a really bad, tasteless joke? I guess they went into some woods in the Japanese where they do some unspeakable things, and they filmed it, and they almost canceled.
Yeah.
So that's my take. I mean, again, like I could be dead wrong, you could be right. It could all be real. People are saying he's on drugs. They could be right. I'm saying he's trolling. I just think that for these guys, there's no rules. So if they're making fun of kids and they're making fun of trafficking, I think for them it's a game. They're just playing everybody.
You know what? That's a good point. That for them, for them it's just trolling. It doesn't hurt anybody. They don't think ahead. And you're right. It's that new type of mentality, and some of it has to do with postmodernism, where these people, they get into the whole moral relativism thing, where it's there's no limits anymore. It's I'm not hurting anybody. That's what they tell themselves, and so that's what they do. What they do, but I mean, again, I don't know. It's that's why even the guy like Alex Jones was saying, I'm not saying he's right. I'm not saying what his allegations are true, but we got to look deeper into this, and it's true. But unfortunately, Garcia is not offering any substance to what he's saying. He's just saying they did this, they did that. Well, who, when? Can you correlate your facts or corroborate them from somebody else? I mean, he's not doing that. So, I mean, I don't know. It's a tricky situation.
It is. But the reason I bring it up is because I guess yesterday he did a live stream, and it's boxing news. At the end of the day, it's boxing news. You do boxing. I try to talk boxing. It's going to be a big fight now. But like you said, I mean, it's really bad taste. Like when I first seen it, and he posted like some like 666. They're gonna come. They cut Ryan's head off. I said, damn, that's disgusting. Like, why would you go that route? I said, man, this isn't boxing anymore. And then we got Jake Paul fighting Mike Tyson. It's like, man, people are really trying to. And then last night we had the other day we had AJ and Ngannou, and people were saying, like you were saying, people really wanted to see boxing destroyed. And then when AJ won, it was like, oh, he saved boxing. I'm like, damn, like everybody's really trying to come at boxing, or is that just me being, a hardcore?
I don't know, man. I mean, the whole Ngannou thing, it wouldn't have worked had Ngannou not given Fury a tough fight. But the whole thing, he saved boxing. I understand because I do understand why people say that, because if Ngannou would have beaten Joshua, it's forget about it. It would have given every other MMA guy out there the incentive that with 0 fights or with just 1 fight, they could potentially beat the best guy in their respective divisions. And like we said earlier, at the beginning of this show, that's just completely wrong. But listen, with the Jake Paul, Mike Tyson thing, it's not boxing. They're not taking. Look, Jake Paul is not taking away from anybody in boxing. In other words, what he's doing isn't negatively affecting Tank Davis, Evan Haney, Juan Francisco Estrada, Benavidez, and all these other boxers. He's in a class of his own. The people that he attracts. Look at when his brother fought. What's the guy he fought? Then Dylan, whatever his name was.
Dylan Dennis.
Dylan Dennis, yeah. I looked at the crowd, and it was a bunch of like 19-year-old Indian kids, a bunch of white kids with zoomer haircuts. That puffy hair that they have there with shaved on the side. And I'm thinking, all right, that's his audience. Those guys aren't going to watch. So in other words, for anybody that thinks, oh my God, Jake Paul is taking away boxing in a different direction, those people, they're not watching Benavidez Andrade. They're not watching Bam Rodriguez versus Estrada. So it's not listening. It's a different market. It's a different market. So anybody that thinks that this is hurting boxing or whatever, I disagree. I tell you one thing. When Mayweather fought McGregor, I disliked the fight right off the bat because I thought that Mayweather was still gonna be fighting top level competition, not knowing that he was retired already, essentially. Then afterwards, I realized, okay, now he's retired. These are the types of fights he's looking for. Okay, he's not wasting anybody's time anymore. So it's the same thing with Jake. Right. Yeah, it's the same thing with Jake Paul. It's a business that he's doing over there. It's show business, and if there's a demand for it, then hey, good for him. I'm not taking it seriously. It's not taking any ranking away from anybody. So who really gives a shit? Well, I don't understand why people get all hot and bothered over it.
No, that wasn't my problem. My problem was that he announced it on the day that Canelo made an announcement. So it kind of seemed like he was clout chasing, trying to overshadow Canelo Alvarez. And the other thing is, like, I doubt this fight. Well, I have doubts that the fight happens. Something could come up, because it's supposed to be on Netflix for free. So people are saying, oh, that's good for boxing. Like, I see what you're saying, BDA, but, I try to just hit all the points that I see people saying. So it's like people are saying, oh, that's good for boxing. It's on Netflix. It's going to be free. And like, but what you're saying, you're like, no. It has nothing to do with boxing. It's not boxing. Don't mix the two.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
But that's the thing is that people do. Like you and I, we're boxing heads, so we say, hey, yeah, it's nothing to worry about, nothing to worry about. But the general populace, right, the masses, I guess, they really run with these narratives, and they take it as gospel, as truth, because it was like what they were saying yesterday. Now I have egg on my face because I picked Ngannou, but I'm like, look, man, it's a circus. Well, I was going against the grain, right? I was like, look, man, it's something I wanted to see. It's bound to happen. You know, like. One of these days is gonna happen. The MMA guy is gonna sleep a boxer. They were really on that, like what you were pointing out. I think you made some shorts, right, about the whole MMA people. Like Joe Rogan was saying, oh, you know, MMA's better and this and that.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, people really gravitate towards these narratives. Like, it really gains steam, and they want to see boxing topple. Like, oh my gosh, AJ was slept. Like that was what they were gonna run with.
Yeah, you know what? I do think that some people wanted that to happen. You know, some sort of like just tear it all down type of situation or mentality. But I mean, fucking boxing is not gonna go away anytime soon. It is changing, morphing for the worse, because now again you got guys. You know, back in the day, you used to have 25 fights before you get a title shot or something. Mm-hmm. Now it's 10 fights, and these guys are looking for a title shot, and they're only fighting. You know, even the prospects are only fighting 3 times a year as opposed to 5 times a year. Well, you know, when guys had under 25s, they used to fight 4 or 5 times a year, maybe more. Now they're fighting 3, 4, and so the developmental process is getting limited, and so with that, the skills also get limited. So the nature of boxing is changing, but I don't think if it's going to go away, it's going to take a long time. Boxing, I mean, MMA, like we said earlier, has been getting more popularity. It seems like it's getting more popularity with the youngins, but there's still a big segment of it's an international sport, man. Look at Japan, look at Mexico, look at the UK. You got multiple countries in there. You got the United States. You still have Puerto Rico. You got Argentina, the Philippines, Thailand. I mean, no, man, it's going to be very hard to snuff out boxing.
Now with Saudi Arabia, but yeah, no, I just say these questions to get the pot stirred, interesting. I was just saying like how Jake Paul is fighting Mike Tyson, what Ryan Garcia is doing. It just seems like there's a new trend in boxing to like stir the pot, do these real wild and crazy things. You know, like what we're saying, MMA having more clout than boxing. It seems like boxing is just taking hit after hit. PEC having no matches. Every good fight this upcoming month is going to be on pay-per-view. It's just looking kind of dour. That's all I'm saying.
You're right. And look, that Saudi Arabia card from Friday, excuse me. I was a little disappointed, but it was only $40. Now the reason why I was disappointed was, okay, we got a good fight between Madrimov. He put on a good performance. Nick Ball versus Ray Vargas was a little better than I expected. Now the Zhang fight put me to sleep, man. That fight was boring. I was deflated by the time the main event came, and thank the Lord for Joshua for waking us back up with a sensational knockout. It was only $40, so I wasn't all that displeased with it. But the one that I did really like was the Day of Reckoning in December. That was an epic card, man. You had Makhmudov getting upset. You had Dubois beating the brakes off of Big Baby Miller, who needed to get taken back down to reality. That cheating motherfucker. Then you had Parker beating Wilder. And then the main event was sort of a letdown because it was too one-sided. But that was a good card, man. So if they can keep doing... That's what boxing should be doing, like the MMA, where they stack the cards over at UFC. Imagine if the PBC pulls that off with Tank Davis versus Frank Martin and Benavidez Gvozdyk. I mean, that to me is worth a pay-per-view. I would pay for that. Now, it shouldn't be $100, but it probably will be something like that because they need to make a lot of money, to stay afloat. But start stacking these cards, man, because this whole shit of boxing having a great main event and then 3 horrible undercard fights, it's been hurting the sport, man.
That's an excellent point. I think you're right. I think they are starting to see that in order to sell these fights, they need to have a good card. Because boxing fans have caught up. All right, we used to get exploited with Nia St. John and Butterbean and now boxing fans are kind of like, no, man, we need more. Like say what you want. The PBC card is gonna have Zoo and Thurman, and on the undercard they put Isaac Cruz and Rolly Romero, Pandora. So it's a good card. Like, but the downside, the neg is that the main event isn't a salivating main event.
Exactly. I mean, I guess Keith Thurman sort of is banking on that whole thing, which I disagree with, by the way. I mean, I don't. People like to say like, oh, you gotta act like the bad guy to sell the fight. That way, people pay to watch you lose. I don't think that necessarily is true. I haven't seen any evidence that really works. So maybe Keith Thurman is trying to go with that by trash talking so much. But the last time he trash talked so much was with Pacquiao, and you saw what happened to him in that one. So, but my problem with that card is again that the Tank Davis David Benavidez card. If those two guys fight separately on one pay-per-view, that's a good one. I would buy that. But this one, it's gonna be priced at about 75 buckaroos, I believe. And that's not worth the money because you got Keith Thurman, who hasn't fought since January 2022. You've got who's the other guy? That Lara and his opponent. There's Rafa, and two other dudes that haven't fought since 2022. So right there, you got three guys that are going to be fighting, shaking the rust off. That is not worth a pay-per-view, man, because you saw what happened with Charlo, how bad he looked after a 2-year layoff. Now, granted, he was probably living a less than stellar lifestyle, but even then, a 2-year layoff, that used to be a killer back in the day. It used to be like, whoa, that's pretty much you were retired if you didn't fight for 2 years. Now it's the norm for these PBC guys. So we're going to be seeing less than scintillating performances, I believe. They could make for good fights, but it's not going to be two guys at their best. I mean, Lara's an old man, hasn't fought since 2022. Same thing with that dude. Now, you got Fundora against some other dude. That's an interesting fight, but really, it's only Rolly Romero versus Isaac Cruz. That's the only one that's really making people consider buying it. And so everything else is very rusty.
And those guys, even you wouldn't say they're the best. I mean, Rolly Romero is a troll fighter. If there was ever a troll fighter, it's Rolly Romero.
Absolutely.
And then on top of that, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just saying, and on top of that, next month is the pay-per-view with Ryan Garcia, and then it'll lead into Canelo pay-per-view, and then Tyson Fury, Usyk pay-per-view, and then they said that Tank Davis pay-per-view and maybe Benavidez will be following that. So what's that, 4-5 pay-per-views within 2 months?
Yeah.
And then
you're right.
I guess stuff in between is better be a Vivo. Now they're saying that's free. So maybe that's one kind of caveat we get. But it's a lot of pay-per-views for boxing, which is okay, I guess. But, people will have to decide. And that's usually what they say.
You're right. You're absolutely right. That's too many pay-per-views. So you're gonna have to make a cut at some point if you're not that invested in boxing. Do you have Netflix, by the way?
I do have Netflix. I have like 10 streaming platforms. I got Prime, Netflix, Disney,
Pornhub,
Hulu. Yeah, that's not streaming media. Come on.
Well, I mean, don't they have some sort of premium service?
OnlyFans, I know, is like you pay a subscription.
Oh, okay.
Not that I do.
But, okay, so you're gonna be able to watch the Jake Paul Mike Tyson fight.
And that's in July, right? It's supposed to be July.
I don't know, man. And by the way, have they even said what type of undercard that's gonna be, or?
Oh, it's gonna be a bunch of probably crossover fights. The Misfit guys.
Is he gonna try to shove a female fight in there as well?
Oh yeah, that's probably gonna happen. It's gonna be a whole rainbow circus, if I can say that on here. Like every spectrum, basically like every freak in society you can find, they're gonna throw there.
Yeah, that's the thing, man. That's a female fight. When a female fight comes on, I respect female boxers, but I for some reason they've never caught my attention. So when a fight comes along on the zone and it's Eddie Hearn and there's gonna be a female fighting, I go, okay, time to go take a walk, go to the store. Because
it's gonna be a spectacle. It's gonna be massive. They're saying that this is, because I see the writers. You follow the writers on Twitter, right? Like Coppinger, Benson. There's some other ones, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're saying this is gonna be the most watched sports event ever.
I don't doubt it. It's Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. Apparently the Mike Tyson Roy Jones exhibition fights they had. Apparently, that did very well. And but it just goes to show you too, man, that they're really running out of ideas here. They're running out of Jake Paul, because Jake Paul was, he fought, the last two guys that he fought were supposed to be real boxers, but they weren't exactly. I mean, the last guy he fought, my goodness, horrible. So now they say, well, what are we gonna? So now they're saying with Jake Paul, well, what do we do? We're out of reality stars that you can fight. We're out of old MMA guys that you can fight. So now they're going with an old boxer to fight, and but I think it's going to do very well, man.
I gotta say, it's brilliant. I mean, if there's one name you could pick, I don't think there's a better name in all of sports other than fighting Michael Jordan that you could have picked.
Exactly. Yeah. I think it's going to do very well. And again, some people are complaining, oh my God, Mike Tyson, he's an old man. Other people are saying, oh my God, Tyson's going to wipe the floor with him, because even if he's a 60-year-old fighter, he's still much better boxing wise. Yeah, he's probably juiced to the gills too.
Oh man, but he's still a 60-year-old man. What if he breaks his hip in there? Like
that's true. That's true. Yeah, you never know. And Jake Paul can't crack. So I don't know. But you say you don't think it's going to be a real fight, right?
I don't think it's going to be a real fight. It's going to be an exhibition, and they probably have some NDA. And did you see people are putting out, like they put out these scripts? They say all these fights are fake, and they put out these scripts, and they say that was supposed to happen. They're probably going to do it with this fight, but I don't think it's a real fight necessarily. I'm pretty sure they have an agreement. Like Roy Jones had said on the podcast, he said, yeah, Mike was holding back. I guess him and Mike had an agreement. Like, hey, man, I don't hurt you. You don't hurt me. Mike just went to the body. He kind of like admitted it without admitting it, but they kind of had an agreement. Right. So I could see that happening in this.
Yeah, because there was a lot of clinching too, man, that Roy Jones was doing against Tyson. I couldn't help but wonder what would have happened had the referee say, hey, stop holding. It seemed like Tyson would have run through him. Of course
that's what Roy Jones said. He said, man, Mike probably could have took me out any minute. Because like Roy doesn't like really have a filter. I think he's been punched and knocked out so much, he doesn't even know how to lie anymore. So he was just like, you know how he talks in that southern drawl or the Florida drawl, like, yeah, man, Mike could have got me out of there anytime.
When did he say that? Do you have the clip of that, or?
Man, you gotta go on an iceberg hunt. I'm
gonna Google it. I'm gonna Google it later.
It's out there. He was pretty much, you know how these WE wrestlers come on and they say, they give you, it's called shooting. I guess they give you the behind the scenes kind of cuts of like what really goes on behind the scenes. So that's what he was saying. He was basically saying like Mike was holding back. What do they call it in boxing? Carrying. He said Mike carried.
Carrying the guy, yeah.
He said that Mike had pretty much carried him because he felt like Mike. Not that it was fixed. Don't get me. I'm not saying that. No. He just was saying Mike. He felt like Mike was carrying him because he noticed he wasn't trying to take his head off.
Interesting, man. Interesting. I want to find that clip, man. By the way, just real quick, man. Did you see the Oscars are going on right now?
Oh, they are.
That's a platform that's been missing. That their ratings have been going down every year. So I don't know what they're gonna try to do, but they had John Cena, who I guess is mainstream now as an actor, and they had him naked on the stage. Now everyone's saying it's a double standard that he's doing like a sketch, but he's naked, and everyone's laughing. And people are saying, "Oh, they wouldn't do that with a woman, though. A naked woman, everyone making fun of her." So, I mean, it just goes to show you, hey, that the whole thing that Ryan Garcia is talking about, again, that shit goes on, but whether it's happening to him is another question.
Yeah, he says he has proof. Like, that's the thing. He's online saying he has proof. He has the video, and to me, it's just like, isn't that criminal? If you claim these things, isn't the FBI going to be knocking on your door? Like, you got I don't even want to say it on here, but you have certain type of videos, proof. Like, how is the FBI not beating down your door?
Exactly.
But I'm gonna think we kind of turned over a few stones, BDA. I really appreciate it. I gotta go. Like BDA says, use the what do you say? The lantern?
The latrine, yeah.
The latrine. Shit, man. I'm gonna maybe I'm gonna do that. I try to have a Sunday show, man. Try to have a Sunday show. It's a good day. But check out BDA Boxing, best show on YouTube. Straight up.
Oh, thank you, man.
BDA
Thank you.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, but you had the panel. You do. You haven't had open lines in a while though.
Yeah, there's not much going on, and lately, if the fucking whenever we try to host, it's a technical issue we have with open lines. People can't hear us, and everybody just wants to talk at the same time. So it just ends people talking over each other. We're working on technically on how to fix it, and once we do, man, it's open lines Friday again.
Yeah, man, it gets riled and rowdy. See, that's what I always tell you, man. Like, BDA lets everybody get their say. Unless you're I guess being obnoxious, and then you have your other channel, Second Renaissance, but that's on Rumble, right?
Yeah, that's on Rumble. Some of the shit we do on Rumble, forget about it. That we can't do it on YouTube at all, man. So.
Hey, you did a hella
Even
funny
worse.
show. The last show I seen on there, it was about that guy in Florida. They arrested him. He was like a serial killer in Florida. It was hella funny. He did like an interview with some guy who didn't know better. He was a building architect or building. He was a building.
Oh, that was New York. That was a New York guy.
Yeah, he was a building inspector or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Some sort of.
Oh, I see
he
that
was-
on
yeah.
YouTube. They're like promoting it on YouTube, like some behind the scenes footage, and I was like, oh, I seen that on the BDA Rumble Second Renaissance channel. It was hella funny.
Thank you, man. Yeah, that was a weird, and apparently there's even more of a deeper conspiracy about
Right.
where those murders took place, and that there might have been actually more people involved. It's a common trope. Whenever you have serial killers, it's always there's other people involved, but the serial killer can't really tell. Remember the Son of Sam?
I've heard of him.
Yeah, there was a New York guy in the 70s. He used to be a serial killer too, and he claimed that he wasn't alone and that there were people actually recording his crimes. But of course, since he's a nut job serial killer, people go, he's just a nut job. But you look into it, and there's compelling evidence that he might have been telling the truth. So, yeah, man.
Yeah, no, I seen it on YouTube, and I remember watching your show when you guys were talking about it. His last name is with a G, Giles or something like that. But now YouTube is actively promoting it. And after you guys were doing that, it was like some weird interview he did in the building, and it's just too funny. It's hard to describe.
Yeah, I forget the
But,
guy's name, but he's the Long Island. Fuck, what was his name? Long Island
I
Beach
thought he was in
Killer or
Florida.
something like that.
I thought he was in Florida.
Well, maybe we're talking about a different guy. But if I'm talking about that fat dude who was 6'5",
Yeah,
like
with
big dude,
glasses. Yeah, big
yeah,
ogre looking.
that was New York. Yeah.
Oh, it was New York, but where he did it was like in a swampy area or something like that.
Yeah, but that's more like outside of Manhattan. That's Long Island.
Oh,
There's
okay,
places where they, yeah.
Yeah. So they're like actively promoting. I don't know what it is. They do these ads. I don't know if it's supposed to be they're selling something, but I seen that and I said, oh man, this guy was BDA was covering it like last year. You guys did a whole kind of Gilgo. That's what it is.
Yeah, there you go, Gilgo. But
And
that's
now-
interesting. You know what, Frank? They just
ahead.
now, apparently, even these big time YouTubers who have 500,000 subscribers and they do a million views for their videos, if they say the wrong word, they get demonetized. So YouTube has gotten to the point, and Rumble actually, you can do pretty good numbers over there. You don't do good money, but if you care about building an audience and maybe building something off of that, Rumble is the place to be, because so far they have not censored anything that I've done over there.
Yeah, no, I see, but they're promoting that Gilgo guy. They're doing some kind of. It's like one of those ads that keeps popping up on my timeline. So I'm like, what are they trying to? I thought that's like off limits, and these type of things are off limits on YouTube. Like that was the kind of thing with talking about the Ryan Garcia thing, is that he's going into a whole nother territory, a whole nother lane. So it was like, wow, You know, he's really going there. I don't think we've ever seen this in boxing before.
Yeah, that's true, man. Yeah, I've never seen somebody go into that from a boxing perspective. It's very, very strange, man. By the way, if somebody's asking, how do we find just write the second Renaissance on Rumble, and the logo is a round circle with two nails. So you should find the
BBA
second
does the
Renaissance.
shows usually have a Sunday show and then a Tuesday show and a Thursday show, mostly for like bigger fights. But most of the people in the chat, the people that I talk to, you know, we all you know, you have your own Discord, and you know, you have call-in shows. So yeah, always, man, if you're not subscribe to BDA, subscribe, comment to Frank Bay, and I hope you join me again, BDA. You know, sometimes I do late night streams. That's the only time I get. These Sunday streams are kind of like, I know you're like on a whole different time zone, but Sunday show is like the day I get to like probably sometimes come in the afternoon and talk for a while.
Yeah, because sometimes I've seen you do them at 1 in the morning.
Yeah,
it's my time. So for you, it's about midnight. I mean, 11. I'm thinking, fuck, man, I forget about 1 in the morning. Like right now, I'm tired, and it's only gonna be 11. So, but by the way, can I just say to that person who's saying, to that person that's saying, where do we find? I'm talking about the second Renaissance on Rumble. But if the BDA boxing, that's still on YouTube.
Yeah, it's the whole thing you can find in BDA Discord. I don't know if your link is on. Well, you posted the link today. You know, subscribe, comment, BDA and Frank Bay. Yeah, you posted your link to your Discord. So, yeah, check out BDA shows, check out mine. But yeah, please join. Sobers, salute to everybody. Sobers, Gonzalo, BDA, everybody who joined. Really appreciate it. And yeah, don't be a stranger, Mr. BDA.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome anytime. You can say whatever you want. Any last parting shots?
Just stay, man. Everybody subscribe to Frank Bay's channel. If you want any, you know, like they say, it's a free smoke platform. Anybody can come in. He won't censor you. So don't be scared, man. Jump on. I don't know. No one's gonna bite you over here.
No, yeah, that's the thing. I mean, I welcome like Mirage was here. He's like my biggest hater. Oh, but anyway, I'm gonna get out of here. I usually play clips BDA, but I thank you and I salute everybody. Quentin, Hawker, Ghost, even Alonzo, amazing. Again, and you can find me at the BDA. I'm always in the chat, so it's a great place to be. But we're gonna get out of here, guys. And again, thank you, and I'll talk to you later.
All right, take it easy, fellas.
All right, thank you, Mr. BDA.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
All right, guys, we're out. We're out. Get your last comments. You can just let a couple things play, and
Got titties? Fake booty? Fake stomach? Fake. You wanna know what's real? This personality. My personality is real. You know what else is real? The real deal. That Miami Light Plastic Surgery hat for you. They have real good prices, real good doctor, real good safety record. You can get titties.
I look skinny. I don't know why. I look skinny today. What the hell? Vanessa, what the fuck?
You nigga. When I catch your ass, I swear to God it's not gonna be pretty. You nigga. When I catch your ass.
You my dinner. You the dinner I wanna do.
This is ridiculous.
You gonna fill me up tonight.
I mean, you don't eat food though. You're not a normal person.
Yeah, I eat food, but I don't want to eat no food tonight. I want to eat your motherfucking ass for the night, okay?
You want to eat my ass?
Yeah, I want to eat your ass for the night. You what I want to eat for the night. You all the food I need for right now. What's wrong? Is you gay or something? You don't like pussy or something?
No, I'm not.
So what you is, a little bitch or something? I'll whip your goddamn ass. Where you going? You my dinner. You the dinner I want to do.
This is ridiculous.
You gonna fill me up tonight.
I mean, you don't eat food though. You're not a normal person.
Yeah, I eat food, but I don't want to eat no food tonight. I want to eat your motherfucking ass for the night, okay?
You want to eat my ass?
Yeah, I want to eat your ass for the night. You what I want to eat.
Mariela, ¿qué estás viendo?
Nada, aquí jugando. No, hay nada.
Mariela, ¿qué estás viendo?
Nada, aquí jugando. No, hay nada.
Mariela, ¿qué estás viendo?
Nada, aquí jugando. No, hay nada.
Mariela, ¿qué estás viendo?
Nada, aquí jugando. No, hay nada.
Mariela, ¿qué estás viendo?
Nada, aquí jugando. No, hay nada.
By your fuck ass this motherfucking summer, bitch. I'm finna have my mother. I want some snow crabs and I want to pop this pussy all motherfucking summer. So bitch, I need a motherfucking Henny and some motherfucking Plan B, bitch. Bitch, I need some Henny and a Plan B. Bitch, I need some Henny and a Plan B. Plan B, bitch, I need a Plan B. Show me a Plan B. Pop that motherfucking cat teeth. Y'all, come here, come get this motherfucking egg. Pop that Henny and a Plan B. Bitch, I need some Henny and a Plan B. Bitch, I need some Henny and a motherfucking Plan B. Can I get a Plan B? By your fuck ass this motherfucking summer, bitch. I'm finna have.
Flaco, I'm still holding it down for you, boo. Hey, but when you get out of La Pinta, I'll be holding it up.
Okay, it's time for workout number 1. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Stay focused. Okay, it's time for workout number 1. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Hey, look at this boxing right here. Hey, don't even look at him, dog. That fool's on that sick one.
I don't give a fuck if they call me a torta, a motherfucking bean and cheese taco, a number 5 supersize the motherfucking fries. I'm gonna wear what I want and look good too. Hello. Harshikari. Yo.
मैं तो शाम 5 बजे हुंदा स्प्लेंडर दा गड़ा बड़े रूट चलवाए पर कुड़ी ना पिछेड़ा 100 नंबर दे टायर बाकी लंडाया कराया ओ मैं 30 दा मैं लिया पर 60 उत्ते लाया हैगा स्प्लेंडर बाजी एम्मे वाली कड्डे
Turned up when we do the buenos dias. Dispensa la tira coming hot like a weed lot. Working out every day cause it's mandatory. Got your bitch putting money in my commissary. Like a hard 39 when we break off. All the homies.
Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 19, 20, 10. Kick. Another kick. 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 I told you I don't bang. You say. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 19, 20, 10.
What are you talking about? Huh?
What you make of his comments, the Mexican thing? I didn't really understand it.
Yeah, like, well, I'm a flat-footed Mexican fighter. Look, if you're calling me a Mexican fighter, I find that as a compliment, you know? What are you talking about? Huh?
What you make of his comments, the Mexican thing? I didn't really understand it.
Yeah, like, well, I'm a flat-footed Mexican fighter. Look, if you're calling me a Mexican fighter, I find that as a compliment, you know?